Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Vantage Points. I'm Hisham Miligi here with my co-host for this series, Davi Barker. Assalamu alaikum, Davi.
Walaikum salam.
How's everything?
Man, it's been a hectic day.
It's been, but I'm ready. I took a nap and I'm gonna be up until California closes.
All right, great.
Awesome. Welcome to our election night coverage, the Vantage Points first ever election coverage. And we're going to be live from now, 8 p.m. until midnight Eastern. So there's a lot that has happened today. A lot might happen tonight. So stick around. And we have this treat also. Well, this entire week, again, has been treat after treat. Tonight, you are allowed to come in studio right here with me and Davi and become a guest of the show. Ask a question, make a comment, discuss something, and then let others come in. I'm going to post the link for you to be able to do that. But as usual, you can watch live on Facebook or on YouTube, and you can comment and ask questions from there, and we can show those comments on the screen right here. Good?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you go ahead and let me know what has been happening today.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I've been watching the coverage, and it's kind of like polls are up and polls are down, and everybody's disputing everything. There are rumors, although I have not been able to confirm, of an active shooter in Las Vegas, which is sort of troubling.
Wow.
I went and I listened to Ben Shapiro's coverage of it. He announced his intention to vote for Donald Trump, even though he didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016. He explained why he changed his mind, and so I made a list of those talking points.
Wait. You watched Ben Shapiro?
Yeah, I watched Ben Shapiro.
Why would you subject yourself to that?
I know your enemy, I guess.
Okay.
It's because I think that we've talked about this before, that there's been this pipeline from libertarianism to conservatism, and I think that Ben Shapiro is partially responsible for that.
Right.
Because he uses the rhetoric of logic, and so people watch him who aren't. People watch him and think they're listening to logic when they're not, and so I think he's been successful at helping people who take pride in their sort of pseudo intelligence, feeling like it's okay to adopt more Republican positions. that's my theory anyway.
It's to me, it's not Republican; it's fascist position.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
Like Paul Joseph Watson.
But the other reason I went to Ben Shapiro is because he is like the worst case scenario. He's somebody who had the gumption not to vote for Donald Trump out of principle in 2016 and to break ranks with the other conservatives and be vocal about that. Uh-huh. And now he said, no, actually, it's time to vote for Donald Trump.
Wow.
And so he's come, it's like that for me, that's the worst case scenario. It's not the soured Trump voter who sees what Trump did and changed their mind. It's the person who says, oh, well, I was wrong. Donald Trump did great things. And now I'm ready to vote for him. Mostly he talks about moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem because he's a big old Zionist, and getting out of the Iran deal because he's a big old Zionist. And so, yeah, I mean, I could see why Trump would appeal to Ben Shapiro.
Right. Amazing.
So there you go.
So I'm
what else?
Now,
I mean, Georgia is looking like it's going to go blue.
Really?
Florida has shockingly seemed to be polling in the. I mean, it's early, right? I don't know how many I don't have a map in front of me. Are we going to do this with are we going to get live? How many precincts reporting and?
I don't have money to pay the Associated Press to show the screen, but I might be able, and I think it would be okay to screen share NBC coverage.
Okay.
So we'll see their map, I guess, this way, which they get, all of them, they get it from the Associated Press anyway.
Yeah.
So this is the link on the screen right there. If you want to join us right here in studio to be featured in the live stream, go ahead, use this link. We're going to post it every now and then. Otherwise, as you are watching on YouTube and on Facebook, you can just comment there or ask a question there, and it comes to us here, and we can post it the same way we posted this link. We can post your question or comment this way. It would be fun either way. It's up to you. If you want to come here, fine. If not, then you can post the question the other way. All right. So now, did any state close yet as of 8 Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern? I think a few states would have by now.
I think so.
Okay.
Or at least the last I heard, they were gonna like close within the hour. So I imagine by now they have.
Okay. So tell you what, I'm gonna try to get NBC on, but why don't you tell us your estimation of what will happen?
I mean, it looks like we didn't get that early bump of Republican voters I'm accustomed to seeing. I call it the red mirage or whatever. That early voters seem to be Republican and late voters seem to be Democrats, and so there's this early tendency of polls to look like they're going to bump Republican. In battleground states, it looks like Democrats just came out strong right away. And so, like, I don't know if that's going to hold. Like, that might be an indication of the entire thing swinging hard that way, which would be unprecedented.
Right.
And it would mean that Trump couldn't fall back on mail-in ballots as a reason to dispute the results if Biden also decidedly wins the in-person vote. So, I mean, that's what it looks like to me. It looks like the polls might have been wrong and Biden might be winning stronger than the polls suggested.
Well, that's a different kind of wrong there.
Yeah.
I still cannot forget the New York Times on the Sunday before the 2016 elections. So the 2016 elections was on Tuesday, November 8th. So Sunday, November 6th, big headline. Hillary is 9 times out of 10 or 9-1 odds to winning the election. And I mean, I don't know.
I think that's everybody's, I think, more skeptical of the polls this time around because of 2016. But also it's a more chaotic voting process than we've ever had before because of the increase in mail-in ballots and the pandemic, and not to mention voter intimidation has been more of a factor this time around than ever before, you know. So who's to say? I don't know. It's a really especially weird thing for me because, like, even though I don't think I can think of a single thing I actually agree with Joe Biden about, I want him to win. Like, that's just my emotional reaction. It's not an intellectual reaction at all. It's just I don't want 4 more years of Trump, and I'm not sure I can fathom anything mainstream Democrats could come up with that would be worse. So
I mean, there we go again. Exactly. They pick the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. I cannot forgive them for what they're doing to us, really. Like, I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. There's also all the down ballot elections. I haven't really paid much attention to other races and what's interesting going on there. That would be interesting to take a look at. But they've already said that this is the highest voter turnout that we've ever seen or have seen in decades. And so, yeah, it's a circus. It's the most like, and it's like, I'm not sure that there's any outcome that won't result in at least some violence from some party, or some protest or some, whatever. I don't. I don't feel like we as a nation are poised to accept the results of this election, no matter
Oh
what
yeah,
they are.
no one is. No one is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about Paul Craig Roberts. He was Undersecretary of Treasury during one of the Reagan's presidency terms, and he's was at least one of the best people who can analyze how basically the U.S. Establishment government went off the rails after 9/11. Um, from a policy standpoint, whether it's the wars or the economy or this and that. And he was on point on so many things, but I'm stunned at how people could look at Trump and support him. So, long story short, he wrote a piece yesterday or the day before, basically saying that the Democrats and the press, which the theme is, or the mainstream understanding within large parts of the society, especially on the right and conservative side, that the media is more liberal and more in cahoots with the Democrats. So anyway, he says that the Democrats and the media, he used the term that I don't want to use here, um, will refuse to accept a Trump win, and vice versa. You see the statements of Trump himself basically indicating he's not going to accept it. I think both sides are playing games, but you know, I don't know. There is more than what we see. Definitely more than meets the eye.
So I guess Associated Press is now reporting Georgia and Florida both leaning red, not one for red, but leading red. So that's different than it was earlier.
Okay.
Let's see what they've got. The count right now is, I don't know if this count can't be official, right? Because nothing's closed. But so far, they're reporting 85 for Biden and 55 for Donald Trump.
For what? Georgia?
No. For electoral votes of states they're calling.
Okay.
Oh wow, it'll break it down by percentage. So Georgia, they're saying 53% Trump, 45% Biden.
What is
Florida's close. Florida's 50 and 48.
But I mean, this is like 2% reporting and stuff like that. So
yeah. Right. They're
what
not
is
all
the
counted
URL
yet.
you're looking at?
I just Googled current election results and the Associated Press presidential results popped up.
Okay.
2002 U.S. election results live updated as of 8:15 from Associated Press.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me look that up.
Election
results. Maybe I can share that on the screen.
Yeah, let me see if I can get the native link to it. Right now I'm just viewing it in Google results.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. So yeah,
but that's the other thing is like one of the big problems is that one of the reasons that people are going to dispute it either way is because I think that both parties or both, I don't know what to even call, like I almost want to call them both nations because they're separate groups of people with separate ideologies and separate vision for the future, and like not nation in the nation state sense, but nation in the original like population sense. Like there's two nations of people living in this country, and they both have a different definition of what constitutes a legitimate election, right? True. And so like there's still all this talk about the electoral college, and like if you're on the left, you want to go directly by the popular vote, and it's like it hasn't been that the popular vote has determined the electoral college in a while. So like there isn't a sense of this being a legitimate process, not really.
Right. No, I mean definitely. I mean and it's very frustrating to me actually talking to people around this election in 2020 who were still kind of unaware or I guess in denial that the popular vote is not how you pick the president.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like they make believe or something. I don't know. It's very frustrating for me, but
But that's because that's how it's sold to everybody.
yeah,
That's the national rhetoric. That's the civic rhetoric from grade school on. Is that
right,
the president represents the will of the people, and the government enacts the will of the people,
right,
and get out and vote because your voice matters. And it's like, well, technically it doesn't.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, we're told that all along, and I think that we're told that because that appeals to our sense of legitimacy. And so there are people for whom that is the legitimate process,
yeah,
right? And if that's not officially the process, then they want it to officially be the process.
right, right, right.
And I'm honestly not sure why it shouldn't be. Like I don't understand why it is. Like, I understand why conceptually they made it this way, and they don't want California to be able to dictate to Minnesota
Mm-hmm.
because California has this huge population. But California and Minnesota are fictional. Like really, we're talking about the people who occupy the western coast, and we're talking about the people who occupy central America. People who occupy the center
Midwest.
states.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And they're still just people. So I don't understand why possessing huge tracts of land means that you should have a larger say than somebody who lives in a condensed apartment complex. Like,
right,
it's I don't
right.
understand why that matters.
Yep.
And I get why it happened. It happened because states with lower populations wouldn't have signed on to this union if they didn't feel that they weren't going to be bullied by larger populations. But
No,
why
I
should they
get you.
have more of a say? you
I
know?
get you. So maybe we should take a minute to explain the Electoral College for those who are not familiar. Let me share the
Yeah.
screen with, let me see, Associated Press, Chrome tab, electoral map analysis. Okay. So, can you see this, Davi, now?
Yeah.
This should be airing live now. Okay, so here it is. This is the website 272win.com, which I mentioned in one of our episodes this
Mm-hmm.
past week. And they're using the AP. This is the AP analysis of the electoral map before. But besides, this is actually 2016, but we're just going to use it to explain what is the Electoral College. So each state is based on its population, the number of people lives within the state, is assigned a certain number of electoral votes. So let's
Mm-hmm.
look here, for example, at New York. Again, these are the 2016 numbers. They are not necessarily accurate today, but for just to explain the issue, New York, based on its population, then has 29 electoral votes. Okay. And New York State is a winner take all state, meaning if candidate A is has one more vote than candidate B, then candidate A wins the entire 29 electoral votes.
I think that's the real problem with the Electoral College. Is
Right,
the winner take all system, because that's the only reason why California gets to bully smaller states,
right.
because it's a winner take all system. If we had to break up the number of electoral votes proportionally, it wouldn't matter anymore. It would represent
Actually,
something closer to the popular vote.
we spoke about this also this week. This website had another piece that went through the proportional distribution of the electoral votes, meaning, let's say California here has 55 electoral votes. So let's say if candidate A receives 60% and candidate B gets 40%, assuming two candidates only on the ballot. So therefore, the 55 electoral votes will be distributed between these two candidates based on the percentage of votes. So let's say candidate A will receive 35 electoral votes and candidate B will receive 20. And so much so forth across every state and province that their vote is counted. So now this website did an analysis on different ways of distribution proportionally of these electoral votes, and in none of them Hillary would win in 2016. I mean, like maybe in one or two extreme cases that it's not going to happen, like that the electoral college will work in that fashion. But in general, when you distribute it proportionally based on the number of votes across the state, Hillary still lost the election in 2016. Anyway, let's look at it and the 2020 consensus as of today. You see here at the do you see my cursor moving?
Yeah.
Okay, so right there, this is the 2020 consensus as of today, November 3rd, 2020. So you have a state like states, like here is Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, each have, and Vermont, they have 3 electoral votes each, equal to DC. Washington, D.C. is 10 square miles. Look at the state of Montana up here, size-wise. So it is not about the size of the state, but it is about the population of that jurisdiction.
But that's an illusion too. Like, the Montana voter feels like he's determining where 3 electoral votes go, and the California voter gets to feel like he's determining where 55 electoral votes go. But the fact of the matter is neither of them are doing that. Like, they're both participating in a massive groundswell of votes that they're votes within the margin of error. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly, because you need 270 electoral votes to win, based on the total sum of all electoral votes. If you get 270, that's at least one more electoral vote than the next candidate. So that's basically why the name of the website, 270 to win. So so here, this
if they're
analysis,
calling Biden at 279 right now, these are just likely. These are the way it's leaning, right?
Correct. So 183 is almost guaranteed, the dark blue, and then 39 leaning, I guess, and 57, I don't know. So I guess the 96 here is a toss, maybe.
Yeah. It means that they must just be polling too close to call. They're probably within the margin for error of the estimation.
Right. So they have in this toss the swing states. Florida has 29 electoral votes. It's the largest in the swing states. Georgia is 16. North Carolina 15. Iowa 6. Ohio 18. Arizona 11. So yeah, so if you add those up, it comes to the 96, with 2 in Maine that is not guaranteed. Oh, Maine.
So this too, Arizona has been unusually pro-Biden compared to previous years.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. Oh, look at here. I forgot to mention
Alaska and Hawaii
also has 3 and Hawaii has 4 electoral votes. Imagine, Alaska is the largest state, I believe, in size, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, don't look at the proportions on this map. Size here is different than in reality. So Alaska,
Hawaii is nowhere near that large.
Right. But they put it this way for you to be able to like make the shape. So anyway,
so some of this looks pretty typical. Like California and New York are blue, Texas is red. Florida and Georgia being a toss-up is unusual, but they could still go red.
Right.
Alabama, Massachusetts, and Louisiana are, I believe, the strongest red states so far, which is
Right.
pretty typical.
Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia,
Oh,
Oklahoma.
Tennessee too. I think Tennessee was the strongest poll for Trump.
Hmm.
So what state is this? Not Kansas, not Wyoming. What is this? Can I scroll over this? No, because it's yours. What is NE? Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Why does it have stripes through it? What does that mean?
Oh, good question. I was going to say that. So you see, Nebraska here has 5 electoral votes, and Maine, all the way northeast here, has 4 electoral votes. Those are the only 2 states that divide the electoral votes proportionally
Ah,
based on the number of votes that the candidates receive. That's why they have those stripes on them. So one or half or some of the electoral votes of Maine and some of the electoral votes of Nebraska will be divided between the 2 candidates. So 48 states and the other provinces, Guam, DC, and Puerto Rico, and the others, none of those give the electoral votes proportionally, except the states of Maine and the state of Nebraska. So anyway, I want to see if we can um, like get the actual map now. If like it's they're
as far as
starting
what's
to
actually
record.
recorded.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to see. The NBC doesn't yet have the map up. It's too early, I guess. But I'll keep following up with them. Um, let's see. I want to see actually. So people watching, help us. We're doing this for the first time ever.
Yeah.
We look as good. No, I wouldn't say that. Better than CNN, right? But we don't have the resources of CNN. So help us, because like CNN have 10,000 anchors, and they take breaks, and they have a buffet and coffee and whatnot. We're trying to scramble here to bring you better coverage, or
Yeah.
more fun way of coverage than.
We might have to take a snack break at some point if we're going to midnight.
Right, right. And speaking of a snack, I need to sip on my tea a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I boiled water. I did not pour my tea yet. I hard boiled some eggs.
Hey,
You
you're
know,
allowed.
you know what's interesting to me about this is how much it exemplifies the importance of good character in a way that I don't think any other election ever has.
Tell me
Because
more.
I'm not, well, even if Trump was saying all of the things I wanted him to say, and even when he says things that I want to hear, you know, I don't believe him. Like, and it's not like I don't believe most politicians, but
Right.
at the same time, he's of such a despicable character that even if I agreed with him entirely on policy, I wouldn't want to put my weight behind him.
Yeah, he doesn't have the intellectual fortitude and decency to warrant my weight behind him. I mean,
Because I don't want to be associated with him. Like,
exactly.
he's just vile. Like, I would not want to put his name on my car. I would not want to put his name on my lawn. Like, and that's always an issue, right? Like character
Mhm.
assassination has always been a part of the mudslinging of politics.
Right.
But this is the first one where I don't think I think that answers the question for me. Like, it's so egregious that it's the only issue.
No, but at the same time, I have to say that even though this is on the character of Trump as a human
Uh-huh.
being and how he carries himself, the conduct, the policy, the end result of the policy of everyone else, basically, who was
Mm-hmm.
president since Lincoln, that also, like, I would not put my weight behind such person. Obama
Right.
I mean, if I don't know how different people view this, but I was swept with the wave of the hope and change, and him as a professor and
Yeah, I
like
almost voted for
constitution scholar.
Obama.
Right, like it's I believed in the guy. Well
Yeah,
spoken, educated, polite, presentable, eloquent, all this stuff. And then, okay, what happens? After everything is said and done, he's worse than his predecessor in many ways.
in many ways. As far as what he actually does, I think what it is the last 4 years has really solidified for me how much of a role model the president is. Like, I didn't really think of this so much because I don't generally think of the president as a role model for me, but the degree to which masses of people emulated his attitude and his conduct, and that
Yeah,
had a real effect on my life and my social life and my family life. And I think a lot of people had that experience. Like, that was shocking to me because it's not a matter of public policy. It's not even really the bully pulpit. It's like what kind of conduct the president gives license to, and what sort of boiling underbelly the country has of people that want to behave that way.
right. So, yeah, I mean, I agree that this is it's sad how Obama turned out to be, like policy wise.
Yeah.
I
But
would
he
still
probably did have a good effect as far as a role model is concerned.
definitely agreed. Yes, definitely. So we have a question from Yasser El Shachat. What's up, Yasser? So when do you guys think we'll have some kind of indication how the vote is going? Um, it's hard to tell, especially that this year we had a record number of early voters and mail in voters. So it might not be resolved tonight. Some people say that in the bigger states where it matters more, like with the bigger number of electoral votes, it will be a clear cut, but we don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. And Abu Nuh ibn Zafar, 100%. Thank you very much. Appreciate the call of trust. And then Yasser again. Which states do you think will play the role of deciding who is the president? And that's a very good question, Yasser. And we were just actually discussing this. Let me bring the map again.
It looks like it's going to come down to Florida again.
Oh, but hopefully no hanging chats. I cannot take a hanging chat tonight. So let's see.
I mean, people say Pennsylvania is going to play a major role. People say Michigan is going to play a major role.
Right. Michigan, surprisingly, is not a clear cut. It would have been had the Muslim and Arab vote in Michigan more unified, as we had Amr Zahr.
Well, the numbers aren't in. It might be.
Right. Yeah. But Amr Zahr explained to us last night that many Arabs and Muslims are still voting for Trump in smaller numbers than Biden, but still. So it's not a clear cut in Michigan. So any of those. So Michigan, right here, if you can see the cursor, 16 electoral votes could be the decider. Pennsylvania, right here, also could be the decider. Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, any swing state could be the one. Arizona and Iowa. So any of those states could be the one. But it seems either to me Michigan or Arizona, because Arizona actually is surprisingly a toss state. Like it was last time also, but wasn't as clear or as divided this time around.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're going to see as the night goes. And
I think it's again the electoral college. Florida has so many electoral votes, and so
it's
29, right?
Right. It's the third after California and Texas. It's
So see, this doesn't make sense to me. So the thing that you're showing on your screen says
uh-huh.
that Florida is a toss-up and Texas is leaning red, and supposedly that comes from the Associated Press.
Right.
But the thing that I'm looking at on my screen, which is what Google is saying comes from the Associated Press,
Uh-huh.
says that Florida is leaning red, although not by much. It's 50% to 48%.
Uh-huh.
And it says that Texas is leaning blue 50% to 48%. So, like, those are neck and neck of two big states with lots of electoral votes. Like, that's a toss up.
But again, mind you,
Who's
like
reporting how many precincts?
how many precincts exactly? And I see now what you're talking about. I'm going to share that instead. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to stop sharing this and let's go back and share this
Oh, it
other.
says it 47% reporting, and this one says 88% reporting in Florida. So
Okay.
that's neck and neck.
Okay. So let's share this, what you're looking at. Nope, this is not the one. Hold on.
I don't understand why I can view this in the Google search results, but I can't find a link to show it to me on the Associated Press site.
Oh, because it's a service, it's a paid service that, like, you pay the Associated Press to
Oh,
show those results.
so Google paid them so that
Right.
they could,
Ev-
so they
ev-
could.
yeah,
Okay.
every network actually pays to receive those results. So here it is. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So far, they're saying Biden 85 and Trump 61. Based on what? Can we go state by state? Yes, we can.
Yeah. I think if you
Oops.
click on the state,
Yes, we
if
can.
you click, I think if you click on the state, or if you one of those show more bars will give you more information.
Okay. So let's go here. Florida, for example, you see the pop up, the call out?
Yeah.
Okay.
88% reporting, 50% to 48%.
50 Trump. Okay, with 88% reporting. And the
But that's so close. Like
right.
that's enough for mail-in ballots to swing it. You would think.
And here's a question: 88% reporting of in-person vote today, or
Yeah.
everything? That's the
Oh, I don't
question.
know, because the others different states do mail-in ballots differently too. So
Right.
some of them are not gonna are didn't start voting them until today, and some of them aren't gonna start voting them until after the polls close.
Exactly. So are these just today? And so why the confusion? Why not say something like that? I mean, this is something we need someone with more knowledge of this, maybe a poli sci professor, please chime in and let us know. So here's
Yeah.
Texas, Biden with 47% reporting, 50.1% ahead, but that's too early to say. Let's see. Oklahoma,
Now,
27%.
how can you say that it's a sure thing in Oklahoma at, like, what did it say, 22% reporting? Like, look, 1% reporting. What was that? Arkansas said 1% reporting. How can they
Uh-huh.
say it's definitely Donald Trump at 1%?
Because it seems from okay, good question. I think they also utilize exit polls, meaning people leaving the poll stations,
Yeah,
and they
it must
take
be.
a scientific sample, whatever the heck that could be, and they determine based on these things, and then call it whenever they reach that conclusion. So
Mm-hmm.
Trump with the 1% in Arkansas has 76.6% of the vote, which Arkansas is a solid red state anyway. So
Yeah,
we
I would be shocked if Arkansas went to Biden.
right. So we already know that. So the toss up states, the swing states are the ones that we need to look like. Florida, okay, 88% reporting. That's the closest state. But again, this is too early. I don't know. Did Florida change their style or whatever? Because they used to come with the results late. So keep that in mind. Texas too early.
Well, I think that the results came late in 2000 because they were in dispute.
But also the way they were voting, I think they changed from those
Yeah, I hope they did.
punch-in things. Yeah. So
It's
North
also
Carolina,
interesting. This map has nothing on the West Coast.
because nothing is closed yet, I guess. By
Yeah.
law, now after the 2000 election, they came to an agreement, the networks, that they wouldn't announce a state until the polls close in that state.
That makes
If you
sense.
remember, they used to call it during the day, which is not fair because it could affect the voter who didn't vote yet.
Yeah. Like
You
it
know,
would cause a chilling effect. If you saw a huge landslide on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast waiting for a chance to vote, and it looks
yes,
like it's already settled by the time
yes,
you can get off work and go vote.
right.
Yeah.
Like we have 5 hours difference between New York and Hawaii, difference in time. So New
Right.
York closes at 9 p.m. Hawaii is it's 4 p.m. in Hawaii, and most people are still at work. Anyway, so North Carolina with almost 70%, Joe Biden is pulling ahead, um, and it has been said that North Carolina might be the deciding factor if it goes by a landslide to Joe Biden. It might indicate that the white vote is not so guaranteed to Trump
The
as
white
the
vote?
correct.
I don't think the white vote is a solid voting bloc. If it
No, no, no.
was,
I'm
there
not.
would
I'm
be
not
one
saying that at
party in this
all. But
country.
I mean, because a lot of people saying that the Midwest mostly white, and it
I
went
see.
solidly for or in a big way to Trump. Okay, let's see. Maine 1% only reporting. That's
Man,
too
that's a
early.
huge lead, though.
Right, but it's proportional also. So that's
Oh,
3 to
right.
1. So even with this result, let's say this is 100%, Biden will still get one electoral vote, but
Hmm.
but we're only 1% yet. New York, no results because New York closes in 15 minutes. Michigan, 8% reporting. Whoa, Trump. Well, that's too early. The 9% now. Too early. 58 to 40. Trump. Ohio, 53%. Biden is pulling ahead. Illinois, they already announced it for Joe Biden.
Who
Interesting.
did? Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
At 8%. How can you do that?
Um, uh, I'm not sure. It's weird. But again, exit polling, I guess. Missouri, 2%. Wow. That would be a surprise if it stays like that. Um, Kansas. Anyway, so we'll keep coming to this. Um, oh, I want to see if I click on a state, what would happen. So let's click on Pennsylvania. Oh, there we go. There we go. So Pennsylvania, so far, where is the percentage? 7% reporting right here in Pennsylvania. And the Philadelphia
That's
area,
cool.
yeah, is mostly like
Alien
Democrat.
Town. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. So those are, I guess, the counties. And here on Google, we cannot go on the precinct level. We can only go on the county level on Google. Let's see things in New Jersey. They already announced it for Joe Biden at what? At 21% reporting. All right. So show all states and see the current number is 85 Biden, 61 Trump, and it's not even 9 o'clock yet. And we have a long night ahead of us. All right. We'll come to this as the night goes. Let's see if we have any more comments. Okay. Maria, what about the 300,000 ballots that the New York Times reported as not verified delivered? Oh, I heard about this today. Okay. Basically, the I think they are investigating a few areas in the USPS where
Mm-hmm.
300,000 ballots have not been scanned, like with a proof that they have been submitted. Speaking of which, being an Arab, I couldn't help it but being late, so I mailed in my ballot today.
Okay.
And I'm not that I feel my vote will make a difference in New York presidential race because it's a done deal for Biden, but still, like it's personal. It's me. I'm not really trusting that my vote will be counted accurately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it even will reach. So we definitely need an overhaul of the electoral system, the voting system, like how people vote and how the vote is counted and all this stuff that needs another look. We are in the year 2020.
I
We
just
can do better.
I don't think people have the political will to seriously reform any major institutions in this country, because anytime that comes up for discussion, it's not a discussion of what would be fair. It's a discussion of how can it be changed for one person's political gain or the other person's political gain. And it's like, I don't think that you could ever get both parties to agree on something unless they felt it benefited them.
Yes, I agree, and that's where the stalemate is. Unfortunately, right now, it's as we spoke over the week, they hold each party holds some issues hostage because they want something in return from the opposite party, and therefore we're in this mess for a very long time. Um, I don't know if you remember which forefather or forefathers, but they warned us against having political parties, right?
Um, I remember that quote. I don't remember who it was. I feel like it might have been Madison, but I'm
Right,
not sure.
right. There
But
were
yeah, that it was a dangerous idea. That
right,
it was because it's essentially the iron law of bureaucracy all over again. That at some point, institutions like that ignore their original mission statement, and their mission becomes merely to preserve themselves.
exactly. That's it. It's how we can remain in power, regardless of what benefits the country or the constituents.
And they both accuse the other one of doing that, but they both do that.
They both
Like,
know it exactly.
it's very clear that neither of them have a commitment to any sort of like formal protocol. They're both willing to manipulate the system and twist it however they can to get themselves the most possible benefit.
Right, right, right.
Because
So
I guess they just both see the other as a bad faith actor. This is the thing. This is why I say we live with two nations in this country. It's
mhm.
because there is not any sense of unity with the other side. It's an adversarial relationship.
Which is the whole idea of a political party and why you get in control. As a matter of okay, so let's tackle this point. California, I learned this year I was hosting on the show five Muslim candidates running in different offices in California. So they explained to me that, or one of them said, they switched into it was Shahid Buttar, actually a sixth candidate. I had him separately. He's running against Nancy Pelosi.
Okay.
So that's how I learned about the system. In California now, there is no partisan election. It's an individual election. Like three registered Democrats, four registered Republicans, five registered Libertarians all run in the primary. And then the general election, they take the top two vote earners, regardless.
Okay.
So this time around, it was Nancy Pelosi, number one vote earner, and Shahid Buttar, number two vote earner, and both are Democrats. I
Okay.
think this system is much better than the partisan way that the election is taking place.
Well, is there a substantive difference between those two people's platforms? Because if there were, that would be okay. Because there's no way you're going to end up with that. Like, even though that may sound unfair to a Republican that both top vote earners are Democrats, there's no way for that to happen unless both of those people have substantial support from the population itself. And so,
right.
If they're too similar, they would split each other's votes and empower someone else. It must be that they're distinct from one another for that to occur.
Exactly. So as Shahid explained, it was a groundswell campaign to unseat Pelosi due to her basically neoliberal, it's not benefiting her constituents nor the country the way that she's conducting her business. It's the same partisan hackery that has been happening for ages, and it's kind of a Thomas Massey, Congressman Thomas Massey, despite his all of his issues that I have with him, he said this once: it's as if that the elected official goes to Washington, Mr. Smith goes to Washington, and they get bitten by a zombie, and they change into this partisan corporate neoliberal hack.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I've been saying that about almost everyone I know who has run for office. And it's not a small list of people. It's probably about a dozen people, and some of them have been elected, especially in New Hampshire. Right. That people who I have known for years, once they're running for office, it's like they're a different person. And it's like suddenly they speak in a tone that seems duplicitous. They seem like even casual conversations off the record are kind of measured and careful and a little deceptive. And it's like, I don't know what it is. It's like the corrupting influence of not just power, but even potential power, corrupts people almost immediately.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing. And I heard this, I forgot who said it, but the lobbyists have so much power because they distribute so much money to the candidates or the elected officials in a way that makes it legal, satisfied by the law. It's immoral for sure, but in a way that it passes legal muster. So they have so much sway on things that the checks are basically distributed on the floor. The speaker or the whip or the minority leader, they have the checks from the lobbyists and they hand it out to the different congressmen and women. So that's in itself is a big problem. The effect of money on politics. The show, what's that Netflix show? I forgot, about the presidency. President Underwood.
West Wing. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I know people were very excited by it, but I didn't watch it.
It's an amazing show.
House of Cards.
House of Cards. Thank you. And it is a House of Cards. Really. It could crumble in any second. If one of those cards fall, it could bring the whole house with it. I highly recommend watching House of Cards. It's an amazing show. That's all I'm going to say. A lot of realities are in that shows, like in real life things. Anyway, guys, I know some of you are watching, and I appreciate very much the loves, the hearts, and the thumbs up. I want you to participate more. Do us a favor, share the live stream on your social media. Invite others. Come yourself to the show. Here's the link again to come here with me and Davi on the show. We're not gonna put you on the spot. We're not gonna ask you to perform or anything. Just come and say a word or two. Let's make this interactive. Or continue the comments and questions on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll air it here. Um, let's go back and check the results. Share screen. And to the people of StreamYard, this system that we're using here, the platform that we broadcast via, is called StreamYard. It is much better than Zoom for these purposes. And you can see, for example, the split screen style that we have right now, and many other ways, but it still needs work. So to the StreamYard team, you've done an amazing job, but come on, you can do better. Let's see, especially in sharing something. Like, why can't we, for example, share the results as a background screen or a window inside a window?
Sure,
You
that
know?
would be cool.
Yeah. So
Like a screen share that's like almost like a newscast.
exactly. Yeah. Oops, that's not the one. Hold on. And that's the thing. It's not intuitive yet, this sharing, so I have to jump through a few hoops to get. Okay, this one it is. There we go. So, let's reload the page and see. So we're still at 85 and 72. Oh, and
He's catching up.
It's 9 p.m. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. and New York is officially closed. The polls closed in New York now. Vermont is announced to Joe Biden, 50% reporting, 67% of the vote.
Well, sure. Vermont is one of the more left states in the union.
Right.
It's the home of Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Come on.
Yeah, man. Massachusetts announced for Joe Biden at 8%, but 71% of the vote. That's kind of a big result, even with 8%, but it's too early to say. Rhode Island announced for Joe Biden with 32% of the vote reporting. Oh, check
Look
this
at that.
out. Check this out.
We have an update.
An update. This just in.
So what is that? It's not Montana. That's South Dakota, North Dakota.
Right. So here's North Dakota. Here's South Dakota. Even with 0% reporting, they announced it for Donald Trump.
Can't do that. How can you do it with 0% reporting?
Wyoming, same thing. Nebraska, same thing. This is embarrassing, really.
I sense clowns.
Yeah. New Mexico announced at 0% for Joe Biden. Come on, people. Anyway, Oklahoma announced for Trump. Arkansas, there we go, announced for Trump. Louisiana, Trump. Mississippi, Trump. Alabama, Trump. Tennessee, Trump. Kentucky, Trump. West Virginia, Trump. Indiana, Trump. Illinois already announced to Biden. We're waiting on Ohio, not called yet. Of course, Pennsylvania is not called yet. Let's see. New York announced for Biden at 0%.
At 0%. This is nonsense.
That's 29 electoral votes, the third largest allotment after California's 55 and Texas 38 votes, electoral votes. And look at Texas now. At 56% reporting, Joe Biden is leading by 50% of the vote versus 48.7, too close. Like the difference is less than 100,000 votes.
Yeah.
And if we look at Texas,
Yeah, look at that. It's all Austin, Houston, and San Antonio.
right.
And
So
Dallas. It's all the metropolitan areas.
exactly, the big ones. So Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and this area here is not even El Paso. I don't know what that is, but yeah. So yeah, so basically the main population centers are voting for Biden. The rest is basically voting Republican. Surprisingly, or not, Joe Jorgensen, the Libertarian Party candidate, received 77,000 votes at 1% of the vote tally in Texas, and Howie Hawkins of the Green Party, 19,708 votes, 0.3%. So this is expected to increase as the night goes because we're only at 56% of the votes reporting. And what we still don't know is whether these numbers are only today's people voting in person today or everything together. So I wish
Well,
someone.
they can't be including the mail in ballots because I mean, like yours hasn't even arrived yet. So,
Right, right,
and they've been saying that it might take like a week to count all the mail-in ballots because of how many more there are this year.
right, right. So yeah,
It's still a decisive lead for Joe Biden, just based on the estimates, though.
yeah. I'm wondering if we can. Let's make this bigger. Okay, this is better now. I think. Um, so yeah, let's see. South Carolina already announced for Trump 16% of the votes reporting, 9 electoral votes. North Carolina, even with 77%, still not called because it's very close.
Mm-hmm. And I
Florida,
heard something about a delay in reporting in Georgia for some reason too. I don't remember why.
here's Georgia, yeah, 34% only, and Georgia is 16 electoral votes. Um, yep, so it's not called yet. Based on this, like, but again, okay, something is not right. First of all, my vote didn't even reach the
It's still sitting in the
destination.
mailbox.
Exactly. Okay. So how are they saying these things? Like, are they gonna call it tonight for Biden and let Trump fight it or what? I'm not sure. Um, Vermont, Joe Biden, New Hampshire, still too early. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, all now Joe Biden. DC, no results. I don't know why. DC closes at 9 as well, or not.
The other site, the 270 to
To
win
win.
site,
Uh
hmm?
huh. Yes.
that that one allowed you to tamper with it and sort of create customized results, didn't it?
It did, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's see if we can. Yeah. Okay, let me share that one and let's try to play with it. Share screen and Chrome tab, electoral map analysis, and there we go.
So this is current, right?
No, 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 no. This is the what call it? The based on the polls, the estimate.
Oh, that explains why it's different. Okay.
Right.
But
But I mean,
can we toggle these results? I thought that this site gave you the opportunity to sort of
yep,
speculate.
there it is. So here's this. You can see the different options. Tell me
Mm-hmm.
which one you would like. So the 20,
Well, what was unusual? These are polls. So Arizona, we still don't know. Ohio, we still don't know. Let me pull up the other one so I can look at them side by side.
mhm. This is the 2016 final results map. So Trump with 306 and Hillary with 232. Um, so we can see that Arizona went Republican in
Mm-hmm.
2016. Florida
Right now, it's still no results.
in both, yes. North Carolina, same thing, still no results. Pennsylvania went Republican.
Man, Texas is even closer. It's 49%, 49.6 Joe Biden, 49.1 Donald Trump. Texas is going to be a dead heat
Right,
race.
right. So
So pull up the polling one again.
the polling, okay. Which one you want to go with? The consensus 2020?
Yeah, I guess give me anything we can tamper with, right? So like I guess can we take Texas out of the race because Texas is really close. So can we make that one toss up?
I'm not sure I can. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, let me put it. Okay. So the more I click, okay. So now Texas is a toss up.
All right, Florida still seems like a toss up to me. It's 51 to 47.
Uh huh.
What else do we know? Are there any that are claimed? Iowa, we don't know. Illinois is fine. Ohio is still kind of a toss up.
So we know already that they gave Indiana to Trump, right?
Yeah.
So how about this? Let's make this map similar to the current state and then play with it. So you
Yeah, that's
tell
what I'm
me.
saying. So like North Carolina, it's still really close.
Okay, and it is in the toss-up area. So I'm gonna get actually here. Although California, we know it's gonna go blue regardless. Oregon and Washington, same thing. Montana, it already went to Trump. Did they announce Utah yet?
Utah.
No, not yet.
No results.
Although Utah is clearly going to go red.
So look at this. So Missouri is leaning red on your map, but it's leaning blue on my map, 63 to 36.
Wow, how many? How?
12% reporting.
Yeah, too early. Plus,
Kansas is leaning red on your map, but it's leaning blue on my map, 52 to 46 with 45% reporting.
but mind you, we are looking at the 2016 results, and we're tweaking it to match today's situation. So let's continue doing that. Let's continue. So Minnesota, how's Minnesota doing in this?
Well,
Minnesota is still
it's
not called.
1% reporting, but it's 65 to 34 blue.
Okay,
So it's
that's
at
too
least at the
early.
moment strongly Biden,
Right.
or at least leaning Biden.
Yep. Nebraska and Maine.
They're saying Nebraska is solid red here. See, this is weird. Okay. Nebraska is 19% reporting, 47% Trump, 50% Joe Biden, but they're calling it for Donald Trump.
Okay. So
But he's got a lower vote count. How can you say it's called for Donald Trump when he's got a lower percentage than Joe Biden?
maybe based on The exit polls, I'm not sure, but here I am. I'm giving it to him. What about? Uh, let's go state by state, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
From the east. Tell me, because I'm looking at this map that we're seeing on the screen. So you look at the current result, so I can tweak this map to match. Is
Sure.
Maine announced?
Maine is marked as leaning red
Okay,
at 2% reporting,
but no
but it's
call.
within 6% of each other. It's a close race.
And
So
and they didn't call it yet.
they did not call it yet.
Okay, so let's keep it. Um, it was divided.
I guess the question is, what is our standard for leaning? You want to say
Right.
10% is the leaning, and lower than that is a toss-up, or is it 5%?
No, our standard. No, we can't really. I mean, I wouldn't even attempt. I don't have the the computer ability to do that. But I'm gonna take what they say. I reset the map again
Okay.
to like to compare. Wait, where is the 2016 actual? Okay, so
This is the 2016 map.
this is the official results of 2016. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Florida is still a toss, so I'm going to put it as a toss.
Uh-huh.
Texas is still a toss. They didn't call it, correct?
No, Texas is close.
Okay. Arizona, same thing. Ohio,
Ohio, they have leaning blue,
but not called.
but not called.
Okay. North Carolina, same thing.
Leaning blue.
And Michigan, same thing.
Leaning, wait, that's Minnesota. Where is Michigan?
Um,
Michigan,
right.
leaning red, it says, but not called.
Okay. What other swing states do we have? So, or states that are big and not called yet, and they are close. So we have Florida, we have Texas, we have Arizona,
Well,
North Carolina.
Pennsylvania is not called, and
Oh.
it's considered a swing state at the moment.
Correct.
Georgia is not called, and it's considered a swing state at the moment.
Awesome.
What else you got here? Well, I mean, we can just go through the list. Maine is not called. New Hampshire is not called.
Yes, but I'm only looking at the swing states. So the swing states are probably those ones that we already have on the map as a toss: Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Well, so the entire
Michigan.
West Coast. There's nothing reported on the West Coast from the AP. So everything
Agreed.
you've got there is the 2016 results.
Agreed, which is
We can leave
likely
it. Just like let's just predict it that way for now.
is likely to repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore, the toss-up
let me see
states
here.
are now 163 electoral votes. If
Looks
you
like
see-
Minnesota and Iowa, you have marked blue and red, but really they're toss-ups right now.
so let me explain what I'm doing. I'm looking only.
Swing states. I'm just not sure who you want to consider a swing state exactly.
Oh, the ones that we know this year are swing states. So the ones that we have now as toss-up. Texas is not really a swing state, but because 38 electoral votes, I'm keeping it out. So Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Arizona. These 7 states are the swing states this year.
That still looks like a strong predictor for Biden.
Not if Trump wins most of those.
Yeah, if he wins most of those. But a lot of those are leaning blue, at least a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Pennsylvania is quite a bit.
Let's see. Let's go back to this. So let me stop sharing this one. And
I feel like this needs to be a board game.
I know.
Like there needs to be a board game based a little bit like on risk, but have it be like fighting for electoral votes on a U.S. map.
Right. Okay. So back to the actual results. How's Florida doing? 91% reporting. Still too close.
That's
With
so
only
close.
right,
That's like 4% apart,
right.
barely.
And it's not even the percentage because of the number of residents, 400,000 votes or less, even
Mm-hmm.
difference between the two is not big. Let's see, Georgia, 37%. Georgia is too late in reporting, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I wish I remembered what it was. I remember reading something about a delay in the reporting for some reason. Maybe it was the power outage.
Probably, yeah. Let's click on Georgia and see what's happening. So actually, no, most of them are reporting, but unfortunately, in this,
No,
uh,
these are all leads, not wins.
correct, leanings so far. But as you can see, Atlanta, major, the major population centers, Savannah, Augusta, and Atlanta are leaning blue, and the rural areas, as usual, are
Mm-hmm.
leaning red. South Carolina, wow, that's a big contrast.
Yeah.
That's a big contrast there. All right, let's show all states again. And maybe this is too big. Yeah, this is more easier to see. Now, let's go to Michigan again. Only 17%, too early. How's Pennsylvania doing? 13% reporting. Texas, 61%. Huh. Texas was red in 2016.
It was read like an hour ago.
Yep, yep. And Arizona didn't even close yet, so we're not gonna get there.
But yeah, if Texas goes blue, that is so unusual.
That's yeah, that's probably gonna seal it because that's 38 electoral votes in Texas.
Yeah,
It's the second highest after California. So yeah,
but that's not a huge lead. This is the problem with the winner take all system. Like, even though, like, I would love to see Texas go blue, like, that's a 50% to 48% spread, but Biden would get all of those electoral votes.
right.
That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make the people who like make them feel good about their vote. Like almost 4 million people um, basically will feel that their vote didn't matter, didn't count. So I'm getting news. Um, yeah, the difference in Florida is too small. So let's see. I mean, Trump needs Florida for sure. There is no ifs and buts about it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, if he doesn't get Florida, he either has to get Texas and not Florida, or Florida and not Texas. Like,
yeah, with
if he
the
loses both of those, it's over.
yeah.
If he
All right,
loses one of those, it's close.
right. Okay. Um,
But
so
he might
anyway,
get both of those. Like, both of those are traditionally red. I would think that he got both of them.
right. Yeah. And that's what happened in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. I think we should, I guess, take a break. Um, I mean, CNN takes a break. Why can't we?
Okay.
So it's 9:22 now. How about that we come back here at 9:30?
Yeah. All right. Cool. I will pour myself
right.
some tea.
Sounds good. All right, Davi.
All right.
See you in a
Assalamu
minute.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be back in a few minutes. On break, be back at 9:30. All right, and let's keep this for them. All right, so you can turn off the camera if you like, or whatever you want. Sounds good. Okay, we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Vantage Points with Hicham and Maligi and my co-host for this series, Davi Barker. Um, let's see. We have now.
Well, Texas shifted during the break.
It did. So we have a question from Yasser. Thank you, Yasser, for asking. Do we expect more votes than 2016? Excellent question.
Yeah.
Yes, the answer is emphatic yes, based on all the um, early voters and mail-in voters that were already scanned. And I heard the number exceeded 90 million before today. So yeah, so let's see the results now. So Texas, 64% report. Nope,
0.1% lead.
amazing.
Man.
Amazing. That's why I can't really call anything like there are so many calculations.
Oh man, the question should be, where are the riots going to start? That should be the question.
Yeah,
If it comes down to Texas and it's a 0.1% lead,
right,
and Donald Trump doesn't want to count the mail-in ballots, there will be riots in Texas.
right. And look at this again. So Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and come here, Dallas. You see, these are the major population centers, and they are basically all Democrat, with the exception of Corpus Christi. But the rest is leaning for Trump, and those gray ones are not yet. The results are not yet there.
Although, given the culture of Texas, maybe it's a civil war. Maybe it's more than a riot.
Yeah, I mean, but what? It's amazing. It is just amazing. It's too close.
I looked a little bit more into the Las Vegas shooter, and it doesn't appear to be election related.
Okay, thank God.
It said that there were 4 killed and 1 injured.
Holy
And yeah, I was thinking, like, man, is it like somebody shooting up a polling location or something? Because that would be crazy.
right,
I mean, obviously it's a tragedy,
right.
but it doesn't appear to be election related.
Okay, that's good to know.
I always like to double check that stuff, because sometimes, like, those sorts of stories are fabricated just to discourage people from voting.
Right. So it was what, a dispute or what exactly?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
But he was apprehended by police, and
good.
I don't know.
Good.
I mean, obviously, like, it's the first day. The news on a shooting on the first day is always sort of inaccurate, so it's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't say anything about it being a polling location or being related to the election or whatever. They found him in his car, like, so it wasn't like a water tower scenario.
Mm.
See, that's the thing. I can't eat tuna without drawing the cats. I've got a cat wandering the room looking for, why does it smell like tuna?
Well,
I'll start knocking things over.
I'm eating sweets. I need some sugar.
Yeah, I got my chocolate-covered espresso beans and my ginger tea, so I'm good.
Very nice. Espresso beans.
Mm-hmm.
If I smell those, I wouldn't sleep for a week. So, let's go back to Florida. 91% still. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, 91% reporting. I mean, can you go back to it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 91%, but it's still only a 4% lead.
Yep.
Less than a 4% lead.
But now, wasn't Biden leading earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. So both.
And so this is going to be another one where, like, it looks like it's Donald Trump before everything's counted.
Yeah.
like at the end of Tuesday, with 100% of physical precincts reporting,
Right.
it's going to look like, but it's within a percentage. What is that? 3.5% is what we're talking about.
Hmm.
You could see a 3.5% swing difference in a mail-in ballot.
Oh yeah, especially this year. I want to see if they say something here about um, the counting the
Yeah,
votes. It's not here. All right, swing states. You see this one between Biden and Trump. So let's see all the swing states now. There we go. So Arizona, not yet. The first results are at 10 p.m. Florida, 91% reporting Trump leading. Georgia is now 45% reporting. That jumped a lot since we last spoke.
mm-hmm.
56% Trump leading. Iowa at 10%. That's very late. Well, anyway, Michigan,
For Iowa, yeah.
whoa, but only 19% Michigan reporting. So Trump is leading. Nevada closes at 10. Now, New Hampshire is a swing state. I didn't know that. North Carolina with
I would say
80.
New Hampshire often is a swing state.
It is? Okay. So North Carolina here is the second, I guess, most critical race because of the number of reporting votes so far, 83%. And Biden is leading 50 to 48. So it's not
By
really,
almost nothing,
yeah,
1.2%.
yeah. Um, and then we have Ohio, 67% reporting, also the same thing. Pennsylvania, only 15% reporting. I'm not sure why is that. We'll close on Pennsylvania in a second. Texas with 64% reporting now, 49.5 to 49.2. That's 0.3%. This is the closest one so far. Wisconsin with 19% reporting, Trump is leading. So, okay, so let's go up to the map and let's go to Pennsylvania, see what's happening there. So, the main population centers in Philadelphia, Allentown, Erie, on Lake Erie here, and Pittsburgh. These are, again, population centers, usually lean Democrat, and
Mm-hmm.
rural areas lean Republican. Unfortunately, Google doesn't give us the precinct level uh, like we can get it from others. But in any way, this is the current result. We have Biden with 56% of the vote, uh, Trump 43%, and Joe Jorgensen 1%, and only 15% reporting. So that's too early, really, uh, to tell. All right. We'll get to Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes later on in the night. But
It must be that the leaning precinct values are exit polling and they don't solidify them until they have an official precinct report.
or enough numbers to like justify
Mm-hmm.
their stance. But we have updates. So this jumped from 122, now it's 131
It's
to
that Colorado and New Mexico.
right. So Colorado now called, New
That's a
Mexico
pretty
now called.
substantial lead for both of those.
Yeah, 5 and 9 electoral vote. That's 14 electoral votes. 65% reporting in Colorado, 58 to 39. 32% reporting 60 to 37. So yeah, so it looks like a repeat of 2016 there. Wyoming still 0%, but called for Trump regardless with 3 electoral votes. Nebraska 32%. Wow, that's close, but I mean, it's too early based on the numbers. And Nebraska, by the way, again, is one of the states where it's mixed allocation of the electoral votes. So even though it's only 5 electoral votes, they will be distributed based on the percentage of the vote that you see right there. So it might be like 3 to 2 if it ends up being like that. South Dakota and North Dakota are solid Republican red states. New York, 18% reporting. Wow, 73%. Last year, if you remember, um, I mean, most of us were saying that Hillary will win and stuff, and I was too arrogant to say that I will shave my head if Hillary loses the election. But I had 2 other conditions. One of them, if Hillary loses the states, any of the states of New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut, they are solid blue states. So I was confident with that. The third one was the trickiest because I said if Hillary wins New York by less than 55% of the vote.
Oh, all right.
You see what I mean?
Putting that caveat in there.
Right. Like Hillary will win New York, but if it's less than 55% of the vote, then I will shave my head. So lo and behold, she got like something between 55 and 60. And I was leaning in the beginning to say 60, but I like said, based on the calculations, this and that, let's make it 55. So I was right about that. But of course, I missed the big whopper and I had to shave my head live on Facebook. And people can go and see that video on my wall. So looking at New York again, 73% to 26%. That's a humongous landslide if it stays like that. I highly doubt it because outside of New York City metro, the rest basically leans more Republican. But mind you, New York City metro area is more than half of the population of the entire state. So,
right.
That's why it comes like 55% to 45%, but we're only 19% reporting. So most upstate, I believe, or even New York City, might be the delay is coming from New York City. But we'll see. How's Texas doing now? Still 64%, but it's closing. Now it's 49.7 to 49. So 0.7 instead of 1.2%, it's now 0.7% difference. Florida still 91%, and the difference is almost the same. How's Georgia doing? 48%. Yeah, it looks like it's going to Trump. North Carolina still 86%. And wait, this increased now to 0.5% instead of 0.2, or that was Texas. No. Yeah, North Carolina. It was
That's close.
0.3%. Now it's increased to 0.5% to Joe Biden. So it's not decisive even in North Carolina, which might spell
bad.
trouble.
I mean, like spreads this small are bad.
Right. So it's only like 30,000 votes. And here we go again. If you look at it, the main population centers usually lean Democrat. The rural areas usually lean Republican. So Greensboro, Raleigh, Charlotte, and Fayetteville all are leaning blue, and the rest mostly, or the majority, is leaning red. But here's, and that's the problem with these maps, because these are area maps, not population weight maps. Like,
Yeah.
look at this, for example, if you see the cursor right here in between Tennessee and what's this state here? Georgia. Okay, so let's enlarge that again. This area could have, I don't know, 500 people living in this entire area. It's so rural that this could be the number. Like, we don't know, versus an area similar in size in Charlotte that has like 1,500 times the number of people in the other one. So
Yeah.
I wish that there is a map that shows the population rather than the size, the square miles.
I mean, this is, again, it's just like the electoral college question. It's like, yeah, metropolitan areas lean to the left, but metropolitan areas are massively more populated than rural areas. So you could
Right,
have it be that in a state, the rural areas vastly not outnumber, but outspread. They contain more geography, but potentially far less people.
right, right, right. So anyway, let's go back up. Um, Michigan, how's Michigan doing? Only 20%, but Trump is leading. Well, it's too early. Wisconsin is a swing state also. 26% reporting, 53% Trump. Texas, 66% reporting now, and the percentage is increasing towards Donald Trump. Boy, this is getting scary here. to, I mean, to Biden. How's
Yeah.
Ohio? 72%. Trump is leading. Wow. Um, I wish somebody can tell us if these are just today's votes or not. Um, but so far, like, okay, so Florida 29, Texas 38. So 30 and 30, that's 67. Those two, 67 electoral votes. You know, those two alone.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets them with Georgia, 62, 68, and I'm sorry, 67 and 77, that's 83 electoral votes. 83 and 92, we're talking about 180 something. So, like, those are leaning now Republican, and they look like they might go for him. So, that's really spelling trouble for Biden tonight. Let's see, Pennsylvania still 18% only, but it's less number of electoral votes. What's going to help Biden is those states on the West Coast are basically a Republican stronghold, like
Democrat
West,
strongholds.
yeah, Democrat, sorry, Washington, Oregon, and California. California alone is 55 electoral votes. You know,
Yeah.
Oregon and Washington, like we're talking about what 75 here in the West Coast, basically. So yeah, it's too early to say anything. Well, we'll see.
Well, this is why the speculation map is interesting to me, because you can sort of tamper with it. Like, I'm a little confused. Like, I've got it open, and I've just made it match only the sure states. And for some reason, mine says Trump has 94 electoral votes, but the official one says he has 92. So there's two floating electoral votes somewhere. I haven't figured out where they are.
Right.
But if you go by just the states that are sure, you got 131 to 92. Which is like, that's a decisive lead. But it's like, if you just give Florida and Texas to him, then it's 131 to 161. Like, that's a crazy lead.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm trying to see if NBC has something for us. Channels.
Texas is inching towards red more. It's back to 50 to 48. It's weird that it got so close, though.
Right. Right. Let me see. Do you hear this voice?
No.
Okay, so it's only me because I'm looking at NBC, and we have Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski talking, but no map yet. Okay, so let's.
I don't know. Even like, so I took everything that was known for sure, and then I gave Texas and Florida to Trump, and I gave California, Oregon, and Washington to Biden, and it's still 205 to 161. That's still a strong Biden lead. I mean, there's obviously a lot of stuff in here that's up in the air in that department, but like, they're leaning both ways.
Right.
But this is the deceptive thing about U.S. elections, is it can look like somebody's in the lead the whole time,
right,
and then all of a sudden, nope, just kidding. I don't know why we even try to predict it when it's just like, it just seems like it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So here's the map that we are still. We have Pennsylvania toss, Michigan toss, Wisconsin should be a toss because it's still not called, and it's a swing state. Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arizona. So those are the swing states, 8 of them.
So these are with things carried over from 2016 if we don't have any reporting, right?
So I gave, okay. I kept the exact results of 2016 and the consensus that they will remain, like California will remain blue, North Dakota will remain red. Only the swing states, I made them a toss so we can see the current map. So now we have Biden with 232 and Trump with 133. But if Trump gets 133 and the 173 is definitely more than this, basically, actually, this is the number that Hillary got in 2016, 232.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if Trump wins all those states, swing states, basically it's a repeat of 2016. Let's see.
But he would have to get all of them,
which is tough. Like I highly doubt it. But here it is. So 133 plus 173. Yep, exactly 306. So it's not going to happen that it's the same result as 2016. Because there's no way he will win every state of those. Although it's possible. It's not necessarily unheard of. I want to. Okay, so I will duplicate.
But he's going to dispute the ones he loses.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's a given. Let's see.
So it's like even given all of this, it could still come down to the courts.
Actually, Nevada this year is also a swing state.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, let me fix that. So Nevada is not sure yet. It was blue in 2016, but it's not sure. So let me share this map of the 2016 results here. Let's share screen and Chrome tab, Associated Press. Nope, I shared the same one. Hold on. All right. Surprisingly, we have no viewers right now, but we got my bro, Cyrus McGoldrick, joining us. I'm going to bring him in studio. Assalamu alaikum, Cyrus.
Wa alaikum salam.
Marhaban, Habibi. How you doing?
Habibi. Nice to see you.
MashaAllah. Nice to see you too.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I don't know if you met Davi before. Davi, this is Cyrus. Cyrus, Davi.
So I don't think we've met.
We never met, but I just seen your name over the years. Doing interesting things.
Okay.
So it's nice to be on with you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Cyrus, we were just doing playing pundits and comparing the results, and here's the map that you see next to you.
Okay. Sure.
Is the actual results from 2016, and you can see here Florida was red, Texas was red, Arizona was red, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, all those are and Georgia and North Carolina are the swing states this year, with the exception of Nevada, which was blue in 2016 but is a swing state this year. So at the very, like, if it's a repeat of last year, then Trump wins again, basically.
I really I've been saying for 4 years, maybe 5 years, right, that Trump was doing 2 terms. Like, I was positive, right? I've been saying this every day. Like, I think.
How do you know?
Well, I know less today. I really woke up today like doubting this more than I have in 4 years. I think it was, what was the moment? I think it was the moment that before the election, when he insulted John McCain. You remember when he said something about
I like soldiers that don't get caught.
Yeah, that one. When he got away with that one, I was like, this man is gonna be the next Mussolini. Like, this guy is a beast. I was like, to get away with insulting POWs in America, like, he made fun of the handicapped journalists. Like, there's all these different things that he did, and there was the grab him by the whatever. Like, but none of that stuff even compares, right, to insulting a soldier, of the United States military. But I don't know, these numbers. I mean, these statisticians today kind of have me doubting it.
Not just a generic soldier either, like a well-loved soldier,
like a guy who became
a soldier that
became,
right.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Like senator, United States senator, presidential candidate John McCain, who even liberal Muslims have now look back on fondly because of certain human-like things that he said. But I really thought Trump had it. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Like, it's been an hour since I've looked at the TV. So how are you feeling? Do you think he can pull it out again?
So I'm thinking that this is the case, and let me share the live results from Google, which is taken from the Associated Press. Let's see. Screen share, election results. Okay. You should be seeing it now. So there we go. We're still at 131 to 98, but look at Texas here, for example.
Texas. Yeah, right.
So Donald Trump is pulling ahead in Texas. It was 0.3% earlier. Now it's, getting 5.5. Now 91% in Florida, and the difference, considering the 91% reporting, the difference is considerable.
Before I stepped away, I did hear something about the Biden campaign, like more or less conceding that they had lost Florida, I guess.
Okay.
More like, I mean, they were guessing, but.
Yeah. So again, if Biden, and so Florida 29 electoral votes, Texas 38. These are the second and third largest states in electoral votes, even though New York is 29 electoral votes, but it went already for Biden, as you can see. Excuse me. Now, Michigan, Trump is doing very well at 31%. Wisconsin, Trump is still also doing well there. Where else? Ohio, 75%, Trump pulling ahead. North Carolina, that's surprising.
Wow, that's tight.
That's surprising.
That's really
it flipped
tight.
Now.
And it's 87% reporting. That is a close race.
Super tight. Wow. Right. So we're not going to know anything till next week, basically. But this is.
Actually, let me ask you, Cyrus, if you know, are these results just for today's in-person vote or something else?
I mean, I'm sure some of them are. Whoa, there was some. I did read that some states don't open the ballots yet, like those mail-in ballots. Some of them don't open them until after.
Right.
Some of them do. I guess some of them have been counting them even already. So I'm not sure which ones were which year.
Right.
But if they're saying, if they're saying 85%, I'm guessing that would be 85% of what they expect all of the votes to be, right?
I sure hope so, because this is very misleading. If it's
it is. It's all they're keeping us on the
right.
Watching, yeah.
Right, which makes me wonder why are we falling for the same trap and doing it ourselves?
Yeah, that's okay. at least we get to talk to each other rather than listen to them.
Yeah, let's just talk to each other then.
But
so where are you from?
I grew up on the East Coast, Northeast U.S., Pennsylvania mostly, Connecticut, New York. Lived in New York longer than any place, and then 5 years ago moved to Istanbul, Turkey, with my wife, and we have a daughter now who's now almost.
So you escaped.
3. So we escaped. We got out right this second. I'm actually in California. I'm with my parents. Live here in Southern California. They moved here just last year, so I've been enjoying the weather here before we go back to Istanbul. Hopefully next week, inshallah. So we'll see.
Inshallah. Safe travels.
Yeah, thank you.
So let me ask you about Turkey then, and what do you see is happening with Erdogan? Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Oh, sure. I mean, I guess there's a few different things. I mean, my experience has been positive. We've been very happy. My wife has been very happy there. We've been blessed, with good friends, with a good community of people, who we've, at least before all this pandemic, we were spending time with, so that's been very nice. We learned Turkish right away, so we've been able to really actually live in Istanbul and benefit from the city too, which has been really nice. We are in Ibn Khaldun University. The university experience has been really great. It's a newer university, so not organized, the way an American university might be, but great professors, great classroom settings. So that's all been good. I mean, politically, it's been an interesting 5 years. 2015 we went. 2016 was the coup attempt. Was it 2017 they redid the Constitution? There's been multiple wars, running concurrently through that time. So it's complicated. Post-coup, of course, there was, and it really is ongoing, I think, still kind of this cleanup, right, of that FETÖ movement, of that Gulenist
Uh-huh.
movement, which, you know, obviously reaches a little bit further than the organization itself. A lot of people have been dragged to that. Ongoing conflict with Kurds, with Kurdish groups in the south. It's complicated. Yeah, Syria. Yeah.
Right. So tell me about the Gulen movement thing. Do you see similarity between how they are treated and the Muslim Brotherhood, for example, in Egypt are treated?
Oh, interesting.
I'm saying how they are perceived rather than treated.
Yeah, right. It's just like secretive, kind of subversive type. That's interesting. Wow. There's something to that analogy. I never thought about it that way before. Probably because I'm much more sympathetic to Ikhwan than I am to the Gulenists. But I do.
So tell me about the Gulen. This is what I'm trying to get at, because I have Turkish friends on both ends of this.
Same. Sure.
So I'm not sure.
I think they were. They became a mainstream organization. I think what's interesting about them, again, I'm getting this secondhand, from Turks who lived through it. Said that they, this FETÖ, this movement was very involved in education first, and very involved in service, right? And so you actually find a lot of the American Muslims that travel to Turkey for service trips or for teaching English. A lot of them went through Gulenist organizations to get there, right? Because the Gulenists, they're Muslims, like they're practicing Muslims. And because of that, before there was the rift with the Erdogan, with the AK party, with the AKP, there was no, maybe people weren't joining their movement necessarily. Maybe they didn't necessarily expect the most from Fethullah Gulen himself as a leader, but they trusted that their kids could go to their after school programs, and learn math and language and whatever, be able to study, and they'd be. I know many families, who sent their kids at times when it wasn't controversial. But I think probably starting 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I guess there were these rumbles, right? There was this these whispers that there was this civil war happening, right, between the political Muslims of Turkey, right? And it was the AKP against the Gulenists. But the difference, I guess, is the only way I would qualify that the analogy that you made, right, is that the perception is that in Turkey is that Gulen and the Gulenists work for the CIA, basically. That it's become like this American proxy, weapon against, right?
You think that's true?
I don't know. I mean, they do show up in really weird places. You know what I mean? Like these types, like the guy that founded MLI, like the Antepli. These guys, like, there's a lot of Gulenists that find themselves in these very Zionist adjacent positions. There's programs like this.
Right.
But I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, the Fethullah Gulen himself doesn't seem like super smart. He doesn't seem like to be fair, I'm saying this to be fair to him. Like, he doesn't seem like an evil mastermind type guy. You know what I mean?
He's too old anyway, right?
He seems old. He's just a simple guy. Like, I think, but he seems to have. Again, you never know. Like, I'm admitting fully that these are impressions that we're operating with. But here, the impression is, that there are a lot of money interests, media interests, right, that became associated with that movement, and that's really what Erdogan went to war with immediately after.
Well, that's behind my question. Was it really true what they're saying about them, or it's a way, like after the coup, that Erdogan pointed at a rival and consolidated power that way?
It seems like I think there was probably some level. I think two things happened. I think, again, Allah knows best, but I think there was probably something to the link, right, between a certain branch or level of the military, right, and under them, right, with a plot that could be associated with the movement. I can see that. I think that seems to have been admitted to, not under torture. Maybe. You know, like we can guess.
Right.
But I think what also happened, it happened immediately, and it really wasn't even subtle. Was that everything bad that had happened in Turkey for the previous 5 years was then retroactively blamed on the Gulenists. And you see that you could, like, it was like every bomb, you know, every like little pipe bomb that went off, right, in a trash can in an abandoned metro station for 3 years previous was, oh, just discovered, you know, a Gulenist was behind that one, you know. And so there was that happening also. You know, I think both things happened probably simultaneously. I don't know. You know, Alano's best. I really don't know much about the Gulen guy. He's like one of these guys you listen to him talk. He doesn't, you know, it's hard to imagine him, you know, playing chess at that level, right? But I think he had people around him who could have been. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Right. Well, Allah knows
Who
best.
knows, right? These are the things that 33 years from now, right? If these documents are ever unsealed, right? We're going to learn some very interesting, you know, about what we're guessing about right now. Our grandchildren will say, wow, amazing what the U.S. government used to do. I'm so glad they don't do that anymore, right? And the cycle continues.
Right. No, I hear you definitely. I'm getting word. You know, my district is Staten Island and a part of Brooklyn, and the congressman Max Rose is a first timer running for re-election, and I'm getting a word that he lost.
Wow!
Again,
wow.
This this is surprising. Like, and it's
he's a veteran, right? This is the guy who was actually doing outreach to Muslims, if I remember.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
correct.
Right. I remember hearing stories of him going up in front of the masjid and telling the congregation that, you know, I fought alongside Muslims in Iraq or something, right? So I understand. I heard this. I was blown away.
Yeah. No, this was a flop from him, definitely. But Democrats are fielding many veterans across the country,
sure.
so they are not labeled as weak or any of that.
Sure.
So I'm looking at the results right now, and he is trailing at 83% reporting. He's trailing his opponent. She's 58 and he's 41. So
yeah. Wow.
So that is telling, if anything.
That's what I was thinking about too. Watching the states go by it. How many of those lower ticket races, you know, those down ballot races were going Republican? I was wondering if that's any sign, like Michigan and, you know, some of those states. If that's any sign, then there's going to be some tears.
I got an interesting one on this map. So Montana and Iowa both went to Trump in 2016, so that's where we had them on our prediction map. But with the current reporting, they're both leaning Biden, so I would say they both have become swing states.
At what percentage of reporting votes?
Okay, so Iowa is 13% reporting, but it's a wide spread. It's 64 to 34. And Montana is 17% reporting, but it's also a widespread. It's 57 to 40.
But I'll tell you why that happens, or the likely reason. Usually it's a precinct or a county that reports the vote, and that's like the votes from this county or the few counties that reported. So it's not telling across the state, because as we have seen historically and even tonight, most population centers lean Democrat, and they are larger numbers, versus rural that leans Republican and it's lower in numbers.
Yeah, you're right. In Iowa, Cedar Rapids and the surrounding precincts are the only ones reporting. In Montana, Mizuna and Helena are the only precincts reporting. Here's the other thing. I double-checked the math, just, you know, by hand. And according to what they're saying, Donald Trump should have 100 electoral votes, but they're only saying 98. So there's definitely two missing electoral votes in this map.
Could be the ones from Maine.
Maine is not on the list yet.
Okay.
What was the other one? Nebraska?
Nebraska, yes, is
Well, here's
proportional.
the other thing. If that was the explanation, then Biden should be off by 2 also, and he's not.
Right.
So there's definitely 2 electoral votes short in this math.
It could be that they decided already on those electoral votes versus not. It's confusing. I don't think I'm going to do this type of coverage again. I'm enabling the abuse that we go through.
Yeah.
But
now we're just
while
gonna
we're
have to go
talking,
for 7 days. We're going 7 days straight until this thing is settled.
yes. Actually, I have a question for you, Cyrus, from Maria. She asked, "What do you think of the think tanks like Turkish Heritage Organization? Are you familiar with that?"
No, I don't know that one.
Okay,
I don't know that one. Yeah.
so I mean,
I can say that there's a lot of academic production happening in Turkey. I can't speak to any of the individual institutions. I don't know. Some of them have government ties, some of them have university ties. I don't know, but there's a lot. Turks are very prolific writers.
Right. So I think in the United States, those think tanks produce policy makers or produce the policies itself.
Sure.
And present it, and then policymakers take it and present it. So, is there a similar situation that you're familiar with in Turkey?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's there are 4 major parties. AKP is the largest. Gets the largest share of the vote by a large margin. But each party has its adjacent institutions. Has the media institutions that are generally favorable towards it. Has the think tanks that support it, for sure. Very similar. I don't know any of the intricacies around the law around those things. There's definitely, they have used the 2016 coup attempt was a good example of when the government was able to use kind of a state of exception, emergency, a state of emergency exception to roll up some of those organizations too.
Right.
And even last year was able to roll up the university, Shahir University, of the former prime minister, Ahmed Davutoglu, too. So, none of them are necessarily safe, but yeah, the whole, they have the whole, they got the whole system. Yeah.
Right.
Very similar.
Very good. Let me abuse myself and share the screen of the live results. And,
I did just get a text from someone saying that I guess Trump just became the betting. What does this even mean, though? Betting market favorite to win.
Oh,
no,
really?
people bet on the election, and people use betting as a predictive model.
Right.
So I guess, they say. Okay, this is the best. They're saying that in 2016 he first became the favorite to win at 9:35 Eastern, and he just became the favorite at 9:20.
Wow. Even earlier.
Yeah, they say statistically speaking that the betting, the odds in betting on the election are more accurate predictors than the polls.
Oh wow!
I believe it. I mean, very interesting. Very interesting. What
People
a day.
are taking it
What
seriously.
a time. Yeah. What a time. Anything change here?
So far the northern
Pennsylvania turned red. I don't know if you noticed that.
Not really. It's still here. If you look at
it's leaning red, not settled for red, but it was leaning blue before, and now at 31% reporting it's leaning red.
That's a bit of a margin. Very interesting.
North Carolina, 91% now.
But Arizona's way more blue now. If Arizona goes blue, that'd be unusual.
Arizona just closed 20 minutes ago, and it's already 71% reporting.
Yeah, but it's also like 10 points up blue, or 9.
But it wasn't it last year? I mean, 2016.
It was red in 2016, and it was red about an hour ago.
Okay, you're right. The results in 2016, Arizona went to Trump. Wow. Okay, So
I do know that in the last 4 years there has been an exodus of Californians moving to Arizona, so that could be part of it.
A long game. Yeah.
Retirees, huh?
I think it's more like economic refugees.
Oh, really? Well, retirees are economic refugees. I don't think I will retire. I mean, in this economy, there is no retirement for me.
Retirement is not the sunnah.
It's not the sunnah, exactly.
Right. We don't even take Fridays off. You think we're going to retire? Come on.
Yeah. Wow. So another question. Maria is following up
on Facebook. Maria, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Alaikum salam.
It's geopolitical focus and operate along the lines of Atlantic Council. Oh, talking about the Turkish Heritage Organization.
Oh, I see.
Middle East Institute has been on Zoom interviewing a lot of Turkish opposition leaders in a new series. So I guess there is meddling from everywhere on everywhere.
Yeah, folks are definitely watching Biden. I know there was was it a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, when it was an old clip, but it just kind of surfaced, I guess. He was meeting one of the editorial boards, talking about how, we're going to put pressure on Erdogan. We want to replace him. We want to, work with elements in Turkish society to beat him in the elections, So I think that right away just drove the pro-AKP Turks like anti-Biden, for sure.
Yeah.
Because Erdogan and Trump seem to have come to an understanding, on some things, I guess. But
that's a good point, and it reminded me that not only those Turks, but many in Arabs and Southeast Asians. I think you saw that picture on social media with the Bengali American Republican making dua for Trump to win. So areas in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, for example, is not guaranteed that some Arabs are not voting for Trump, like they will.
Right.
I had Amr Zahr last night, and he's saying even in Detroit and Dearborn, some Arabs and Muslims are voting for Trump.
Sure.
It's like there is definitely it's not stupidity.
No.
Like this is not it. There are good reasons.
Not always, at least.
To those people that they have. So, for example, the economy.
Sure.
Some of them are hardcore on the social issues.
Also, yep, true.
And that's
pro-life judges. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So, but from a business perspective, do you really think that Trump is better?
Yeah, right. I wonder, right? That's the.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a business owner, so I can't say. You guys,
right?
My pay grade.
It seems my experience.
I barely pay taxes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And Davi, you might be more versed on this than me, but it seems that in general, Republicans lower taxes, yes, on corporations, but also some of it reaches the small business owners and professionals. What do you think?
I mean, most Republicans, when they debate, they are still describing trickle-down economics. They're still describing Reagan's concept of lowering taxes on the rich, so maybe the rich will spend money on the poor. And I don't think that has panned out really well.
Right.
But I have heard economists that are, I suppose, like, policy wonks, not partisans, that have said that as a result of the specific tax cuts and deregulations that Trump has been doing, there has been a natural increase in wages not through minimum wages increase, but a natural increase in company wages because of the way that profits are structured or whatever in these companies. I don't know how true that is or if that's a good idea, but like that's not a huge selling point to me. Like when you could just as easily like reduce the taxes on the people you want to help directly.
Right.
Like I don't see why we have to have our tax cuts filtered through the rich. You know what I mean?
Especially, I completely agree, especially if you're on the lower spectrum of income. You're not going to save that money. You're going to spend it, which does, that's the purpose that you want. You want more spending. You want more production. You want this and that.
That's what they say the point of stimulus is, yeah.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, I see. I agree.
I mean, I also, I agree with your complaint there, and I also feel the same way when Democrats want to raise taxes in order to pay for things that could be just very easily paid for with the smallest fraction of a military budget.
Right. If we just built one less cruise missile, we could do all of this.
Right.
There would be nobody hungry, right? Like literally solve hunger, right?
But of course, the military is the sacred cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have no patience for either party, really. You know, that's the thing. You know, we mock people, and it is silly, obviously, to see the uncles make off. But I feel kind of silly about people getting really excited for Biden too. If we're being honest, I know that doesn't make.
I don't know anybody who is excited for Biden.
I think enough people were able to whip themselves into a mood, right? To try to, because they saw themselves as the right, or at least the sheepdogs, right, trying to rally everybody. So they had to pretend to be excited in order to like project excitement, in order to get people to vote, because they know that there's, jerks like me who are like, undercutting them every chance I get.
At least you're not making videos at 10 p.m. telling people how to vote. I had to smack down someone last night because of exactly what you're saying.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Like posting statements from Trump in a video cut, all his statements against Muslims, and with the caption, if you didn't know who's better for us, this should tell you. So I lost it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, even the like social media slogans for Biden were really ambivalent. Like there was a whole bully Biden campaign, which was you should elect Joe Biden because he's more likely to respond to bullying from the population, whereas Trump doesn't care what the population thinks.
Right.
One of the others I liked was abiding for Biden.
Oh God. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I really like, and they're getting smarter, obviously, because, the Democrats learned with Obama, right, that you have to make the reformists look like radicals, right? Because they know that there's this young wing, right, is a little bit, feral, is a little bit like, it's just a little bit too wild,
Right.
They actually want the things that were promised. That's the weirdest thing.
These dumb kids. And so they know that they're there, right? So they have the foundations, the political party. They develop these new leaders and activist types to, talk a certain way. But they know they can't like lose credibility, right? If they pretend to be excited about, or if they say they're excited about Biden and Kamala Harris, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have to say, and they did the same thing, right? In 2016, they're prominent activists. They never said that they're voting for Clinton. They say, I'm voting against Trump. Right. They won't say who they're voting for. They say we have to vote against this person. Right.
Well, fine. Totally true though.
That's your calculation. Sure. And I get that, right? But I'm just watching the game. That's because now I'm imagining, I still could imagine Trump pulling this one out. But if the scenario that I was imagining also with Biden, like if Biden were to take this one, right? Very quickly, right? America goes back to business as usual, right? The pussy hats go back to eating brunch, right? Or whatever the meme was. I think things get quiet. But what happens then is the Tea Party comes, or whatever. I mean, the new version, the Proud Boys or whoever it is. what appears like a right-wing insurgency, right, motivates the left to then defend the Biden Democrat majority government from this right-wing uprising, right? So using the wave to just undercut, right, anything more radical than maybe an AOC, right? Just make sure that you really just gut it, right, over these next 4 years, maybe 8, right? Because let's see, having years in the White House, Kamala Harris probably finishes the term for him, right? But and then is reelected. But it could be. I mean, it could just be another way to gut, to gut the BLM type, more revolutionary style activism happening. I'm just spitballing here, but it was something that occurred to me today. I'm like, all the people who are protesting the Trump government now might tomorrow be defending a Biden government from the racist right,
Yeah.
In the street.
Which is what happened with Obama.
Right. I mean, at least with Obama, it died, right? But at least you had the energy that, manifested in this Occupy type thing. Like there was that early disappointment.
Right.
They were like, 12 months disappointment.
Right.
That were, not that, we can talk about what it accomplished. I don't know.
These guys are pre-disappointed, though. You got all the Bernie or Busters who are already disappointed with the Biden administration.
Now, it could really be, there's a lot of potentials there, for sure. I'm really impressed with these kids, man. These kids really just have no love for anything except Bernie and socialism. But
Trump has seen a rise of a fringe extremism on the right during his administration. It's not like only the left opposition has risen. Like there is, like the Proud Boys are new on the scene. Like a lot of this stuff is brand new,
and they're more committed, right? They're more committed. They're better. They planned. I mean, they're just better armed, right? For what that's worth, and that's worth a lot.
They're less attached to reality than ever before. Like they live in their own little echo chamber online that doesn't even listen to Fox News. Like,
that's right. Yeah. If Trump criticizes, what was their name? Megyn
Kelly.
Megyn Kelly, right? That was a great example, right? Making an example of even a Fox News anchor.
Fox News is too moderate now.
It's quite a. That's really it's. I just recently, kind of finally figured out what the QAnon stuff was all about. These are not small, these are not small groups of people, right, who are operating, right, kind of in this, again, what seems to a lot of people in liberal cities as a fringe, right, but they're not fringe to themselves, like that's, I mean, down the street from my parents' house, California, I get the feeling that most of these people are probably like Obama Democrat type, but one house has the Trump flag on the flagpole and 2 full trailers outside. They got cars in and out of this house all day, right? I'm wondering, anyone flying a Trump flag, there's a level of excitement there, right? That that already kind of identifies someone as unstable.
Right.
I'm in Georgia. Over here, the Trump flag is the standard. The excited people fly thin blue line flags and Confederate flags.
Yeah, right. See, when I was growing up in Pennsylvania, we had the Confederate flags there too. That was the Confederate flags were still very common in rural Pennsylvania.
I saw my first Biden sign in the entire campaign this week.
Wow.
That guy was really being heroic, putting that up.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. It's a heroic act in this atmosphere.
In some,
not that I agree with Biden or whatever.
Yeah, right. And I'm just, I appreciate the sincerity.
Right.
Oh, what a time! It's a really interesting time. I think always whenever these elections come up, every 4 years, there's a few that I've been like politically aware for, and like active for. I always feel like we've missed an opportunity a little bit, right? Because we get caught up for 2 years prior. Everyone gets caught up in the cycle, right? And then there's two years of dealing with it, whatever fallout. Maybe you get 2 years of some critical thought, whatever. Maybe not. Actually, not even that, because 2 years in, you have a midterm election. But I think we often miss this chance to ask the big questions, to actually what our goals are, You know, our brothers in DC, in Washington DC, who, you know, have, you know, coalesced into organizations that claim to represent all of us, right? In whatever capacity.
Right.
You know, I love many of them, but I don't follow them politically. You know, I don't know what they're working on. You know, I don't know. I don't think that they have, you know, the same interests that I have, right? I don't think they have the same priorities that I have. And so, you know, this was just another one. It's just another, you know, another campaign has passed where I'm just watching everyone, you know, fall for the same tricks again and again.
Again and again. Exactly.
Without really, I don't know. We just didn't get it. But maybe we won't.
And here's the thing, like we and I kept saying this since the 2012 election. We keep on waking up a couple of months before the presidential election. Oh, what is our platform? What are our issues? And it's too late. It has been set already.
Yeah.
And you either vote for me or you have nothing. And, and when you get something, what do you get? You get a White House iftar with the Israeli ambassador speaking to you.
Right.
You know, the audacity.
I just realized, Brother Shab, last time we spoke on this show, how long ago was that? A month, maybe?
A month or so, yeah.
Maybe, right? It was right before I had just gotten word, and at the end of our interview, I started shouting about an organization called Engage.
I remember.
I'm not familiar. What's that?
So, you know, at the time, I didn't know a ton about them, but I was getting some bad feelings, you know, about what they were about, and then it just got worse and worse over the following 3 weeks.
Right.
And I didn't know when I would speak to you again, but so anyway, yeah, Davi, the Engage is where do we start with Engage? It's a political organization, right? They do voter turnout stuff, voter education stuff. They have a PAC, it seems, you know, like one of these kind of three-prong type, you know, operations, and they seem to.
What's their bias? What's their goal?
So,
they're a Muslim
organization. Yeah.
Okay.
It's it seems like an Ismaili family in Florida seem to be like the main founders of it, father and son, you know, and the son now is this gentleman, Farouk Mitha, yeah, who works for Biden now, you know, is
Muslim liaison, right?
Liaison, yeah. He and pretty much everyone else kind of on the Engage board and, you know, at these top levels of leadership. A lot of them had government careers. You know, some of them are seem like some of the national figures are like, you know, former diplomats, or they were in some of, you know, different DC type positions. Which I'm not saying this as a judgment. I'm just, it seems like there's a category of people that, you know, kind of became Engage.
Okay.
And where do we even start with this, Hashem? I don't even know if there's like so many layers. Do this historically or in terms of unfolding evidences? I don't know.
Right. I think unfolding due to the coverage by certain people in the Middle East Eye and in Electronic Intifada.
Yeah, sure. So perhaps it began, you know, Care Florida, and Hassan Shibli were doing a series of interviews about political prisoners,
right?
Cases of political prisoners of conscience. I forget, was the first one Dr. Sami? There might have been a first one, and then I think maybe he was the second or something like this. Maybe the first or the second was Dr. Sami Al-Arian.
Right.
You may remember, Davi, if you remember him. He was and in the interview, I guess Dr. Sami, who's from Florida, was
originally
raising for many years, decades, raised concerns, right, about the influence that this organization named Engage seemed to be having, right, in Muslim organizations, and he feared, especially that, you know, many of them were involved with Zionist normalization projects, and just a lot of, and actually, and even other not Palestine related, but pro-imperialist kind of interventions, right, in Syria in particular. And anyway, there's a few issues. Anyway, he was concerned about the money trail and who was involved, etc. They posted the video or went up live, and then pretty soon after they pulled it. Right, they pulled the video down.
Right.
Cut 45 minutes of it out. Right, in which he was talking about Engage and some of the related issues, and then reposted it, in half. And turns out it was because Engage, I guess, the money, there were big donors that support Engage, also support CARE. There was some drama. Some people were offended. People were upset that the character was being impugned. Then it just kind of got worse and worse, I guess. Electronic Intifada picked it up, started digging into the backgrounds of pretty much everyone involved, and actually there's some of their policy positions, the candidates that they supported. It's a very strange collection of candidates that they seem to be supporting. Got worse. Turned out, even though that they had endorsed Biden, first they endorsed Sanders, then they endorsed Biden. Then it turns out that the chair of their Florida PAC is a big Trump supporter. Like, it was like all these layers of like stuff, just crap, just hitting the fan. I mean, a ton of things I'm missing. I've alhamdulillah, I've been able to not think about this at all for 3 weeks, but I guess just came back. But anyway, the point for me is, right, I don't think I know any of the people involved in the organization personally. It's not a personal thing for me. Even if someone in the organization had taken a trip to so-called Israel, right, but they were able to say that, here I am in government and I'm able to secure some wins here. I'm able to advocate for some good policies, right? Might roll my eyes, but say, okay, do what you can, I guess. I'm not gonna cheerlead for you, but do what you can. But it really seems like across the board, these people have really just kind of sold the farm here. Like, they've really given the whole thing away to Biden, not really doing much work to do it. I think Muslims would have voted for Biden anyway, and they step in and take credit for it. They say they're going to get a million Muslim votes for Biden. They're not really doing the work to get that done. It seems like most of their work was kind of putting their logo next to what other organizations were already doing, this, coalition work, type stuff. But what happened, I think what I realized is that, these guys positioned themselves perfectly, and they did it quickly, right? While we were sleeping. They were raising money, they were working, they were laying the groundwork, meetings in DC, to position themselves to be closest to the Biden campaign, and then, of course, to be closest to the inside, of a Biden presidency, right? And so right away, I mean, I have my disagreements with CARE and with ICNA and ISNA and whatever, I mean, I generally love ICNA, but every organization, none of these organizations are perfect, but these organizations, you could argue, are a little bit more representative, right, than an organization that, just comes out of thin air within a few years and not really from the community. What I guess, whatever. But what it revealed to me was how easily we can be bought, like very quickly, right? A stamp people could buy a stamp to put on the Muslim community and say, we're the Muslim guys, right? We're gonna get you this, right? And everyone fell in line, like all the CARE leadership and the Empower, leadership, and AMP, like the Palestinian, the American Muslims for Palestine. Like, everyone was all of a sudden stuck because they'd been working with Engage all this time, even though Engage was doing all the things that they claimed to hate, right? They worked together to make sure that Engage was the face, right? Because they were so excited to get FaceTime with Biden, right? On a computer screen, right? Without securing really a single concession. I think the whole thing was about Biden saying, it's really access, but what he had to say something. So what he said was, I'll reverse the Muslim ban.
Right.
That's what he said. I'll reverse the Muslim ban. And that was enough. That was enough. No one asked about war. No one asked about, our prisoners, the things that you should be unanimous priorities, right? None of those things were even discussed. But some people operating out of a Hooters in Florida, right, are directing the Muslim policy agenda in America. I was shocked. So anyway, we just, I don't say all this to blame anybody, right? I remind myself first, I've been away, I'm just observing. I'm just observing the dynamics, learning, studying,
But I mean, it shows, Cyrus, that again, we are asleep, and we
yeah,
don't
yeah,
we
yeah.
don't wake up, and we allow these things to happen. I think it's time, after all these years and after almost 20 years post 9/11, that we have a mechanism of choosing who represents us. It's not acceptable anymore that whoever is there or whoever has the money is the representative, de facto representative, because you have money doesn't mean you understand politics or how to form a policy standard or this and that. Like, and this is the issue with engage, as you said, like reverse the Muslim ban. I mean, and
Right.
what about the wars? What about the drones? What about
We got a
the
lot of
The Muslim
surveillance?
ban was supposed to be a temporary measure anyway.
Right.
but then it became the hill to die on, right? Because it went to the Supreme Court and this whole, it
Yeah.
became a whole thing, right? So
Right. So it
Yeah.
shows that even on the leadership level, on in large Muslim organizations, as you said, the axis itself is so exciting that it blinds us sometimes from stopping, taking a step back. Is this the right way to approach
right.
such issue?
Well, it's good for the institutions, right? I think that's what happened with this specific case. What became very clear were that there were people who had big donors who
Right.
just wanted access. I mean, really,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people with a lot of money. All they want is a photo. They just want a
Yes.
photo with Biden,
Yeah.
or Trump, right? That they can hang on their, wall,
Which
in their
kills me.
or their pizza shop, whatever. And people spend a lot of money for it. I mean, Dr. Sammy tells the story of a big donor, $500,000, was ready to give $500,000. This was I think it was to Bill Clinton back then. He was talking about the 90s, right? For a photo. He didn't ask for anything. He just wanted a photo. That's all
What
it
is
is.
that going to do? I don't get it.
I think, and when your perspective is small, right?
Right.
You're not even going to make the small wins. Really, these aren't even really victories. But I think that's what happened with even organizations that have missions, right, which are based on, theoretically belief, our beliefs, our goals, our political goals. But when it comes to maintaining the institution, right, it's the logic of the dollar, and there are a lot of people, who have a class interest in maintaining, a status quo, and Biden is that. Or for some people, Trump is that too. I guess there's, like you were saying, it's not all stupid reasons. It's not always stupidity, but sometimes it is, right? Sometimes there's stupid reasons for supporting
Right.
candidates too. That happens. But when your goal is the institution, right? These things which are supposed to be means, when they become the ends. I mean, all this stuff. This is all just a consequence of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, inshallah, once you finish your PhD, and are you planning to teach first or not?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
Okay.
we'll see. The world changes fast. The world changes so fast. It's hard to say. We left intending to only do a master's degree. We were going to stay for 3 years and then return.
Uh-huh.
And we had a daughter, and and we just fell in love with Turkey. Like, we really just we got very comfortable there. We just really appreciated what we had in our community, in our neighborhood, in the city, in Istanbul. So we stayed on for another degree. And now, like, every year that passes, I'm watching America from a distance. Like, it becomes less than. It's really hard to imagine me wanting to bring my family back here and raise my family here. New York City is my home. Like, there's no place in the world that feels like Brooklyn to me or Harlem to me. Like, really, it really is home in a way that no place else is. But it just, the idea of really committing to this, like, it's hard. It's hard for me. I guess it's different for me. I'm mixed. I have family all around the world. Like, I've got half of my family still in Iran. So it's kind of like, a piece of land. I don't There's not many pieces of land that I feel super committed to. And America is just a really ugly one, you know? Trump, I mean, a lot of people were surprised in 2016. People were traumatized, but that's the America I know. So I wasn't really, you know, it's just one battlefield among many, you know,
Right.
where we could be most useful.
So I was asking you actually for the purpose of that. I'm saying once you're done, we need to work on a standard.
I know. I appreciate you. I knew what you were asking. That's why I was putting all my excuses in front of it. But,
you put all the caveats.
yeah. I know. I knew exactly where you're going. This is all of my friends. You know, all of my friends and mentors like yourself. You know,
don't bail on me.
Serious. I know. You know, I will say I was talking to. I think it was last year because it was before COVID. I was talking to Sister Aisha Al-Adawiya, you know, a good friend and respected elder of ours, you know, who I love very much, like my own mother. And I remember over the years after leaving, I would always make sure I saw her when I would visit New York. You know, I hope she doesn't mind, you know, me telling the story. It's a light quip, but you know, every year she'd always tell me, she would remind me, she'd like, finish your degrees, but then come back, you know, finish your studies and then come back. You know, we need you here, or whatever. And I always, that always meant a lot to me, you know, to come from her, like there's someone who I love so much. And, you know, I really, thinking of her there in New York, you know, made me feel this call to like come back and, you know, get back to the work. And then I think it was last year, I remember seeing her and you know, we were talking about it and she said, you know what, maybe stay out there and just commute. Just commute to America for work.
Oh my God!
Like,
if it's coming, if it's coming from her,
I know, that's how I felt. It was really chilling in a way. I laughed, and I still laugh about it, but it was really chilling. But it kind of reflected also how I had come to feel about America. Like you know, it's home in a way. You know, culturally, I'm so American. I can't pretend. You know, I'm anything but. I'm so comfortable here, of course. But that's natural. But politically, like it's just. I don't know. My perspective has shifted a little bit, you know, like there's certain work that Muslims have to do in America. Sure. You know, that's not going to change. That work has to be done, but there's work that Muslims have to do in Turkey and from Turkey and in Iran, you know, and from Iran and anywhere that we are around the world. And, you know, I've become very comfortable in Turkey and Iran as well, you know, and so I don't know where I'll be most useful. We'll see, but the world changes.
So you recently, two things happened in your life. One is that you wrote a chapter in the book.
Oh yeah,
that just came out. So tell us this story, but also the second thing after. Tell us about also the book about Malcolm X that you translated.
Sure. Yeah, two nice stories, nice episodes in my life. Alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful. I guess I'll tell the Malcolm story first, actually, because chronologically I did that first. You know, the director of our institute and now the rector of our university, of Ibn Khaldun University in Turkey, his name is Recep Şentürk. He's a Turk. He's a Naqshbandi Sufi, you know, a scholar of Islam and also a Sufi. And also a Columbia University educated sociologist. He actually lived in New York in the 80s when he was doing a PhD there after doing theological studies in Turkey. And so he's this really interesting guy that kind of brings together this traditional Islamic approach with really a Western academic social sciences approach. And he went back to Turkey and has built a number of institutions, one of which, you know, I study in. But he wrote, and I think he probably wrote it in the 90s, now that I think about it, but he wrote a book on Malcolm, which was really kind of an introduction to Malcolm for Turks. A lot of Turks read his autobiography, which was translated into Turkish. It's a very popular book, very well known, the autobiography, that is. All the time. If I tell anyone I'm from New York in Turkey, they say, "Oh, Malcolm X." You know, like it's the first. That's their first.
Wow.
They know Malcolm. You know, Turks know Malcolm.
Wow.
There's murals of Malcolm in Istanbul that I've seen. So they know him, you know, but he wrote a book which is really interesting. It gives kind of a short introduction to his life and then also has a short section, which is kind of, I guess you could say, like an Islamic almost analysis, like an Islamic narrative kind of his growth, you know. And it, you know, sometimes people do that and then it turns out like it's just another form of whitewashing him. I felt like he didn't, I don't think Dr. Şentürk did that. Like I felt like his take was a pretty good take. You know, he kind of showed how he progressed in his spirituality and also in his political vision, but without without whitewashing it too much. And I remember another teacher of mine, Sheikh Mohammed Mendez, based in New Jersey, was really excited about the book. And I remember he mentioned it to me. He said, "You have to go find this book and get your hands on it." And I said, okay, fine. And then, a week later, I hadn't done anything about it. But a week later, I got a phone call from someone at the university asking, this publisher just reached out about this book. They want to publish it. They want to translate and publish it. We thought you might be the right guy to do it.
Wow.
And I told them I'm certainly not the right guy to do it, but maybe, let's talk about it, whatever. And I gave it my best shot. I translating from Turkish into English. I did it. It was probably almost a year, maybe more than a year ago that I finished it. And then finally, they just prepared it for publication. So I'm excited to see that come out, in English now.
Congratulations. So how did you learn Turkish?
So right away, we did in class. I mean, the university for foreign students arriving, our first 9 months, we were fully paid, we're paid stipends, like all students. But those first 9 months were all Turkish language, so it was immersion, we went in. And it was great. I mean, and also, within a month, you have enough to be able to talk to Turks on the street. You have to pay your bills and buy your groceries, so we were able to do it quickly. Speaking Farsi, also Farsi and Turkish have a lot in common too. So that helped me. My wife speaks Urdu, Sarosh speaks Urdu. So that, she also had kind of a bridge language that helps a lot. There's a lot shared
Very nice.
grammar and also in vocabulary. But yes, it was a fun project though, doing this, and it's good practice for my Turkish for sure. But it was also fun to spend time again with Malcolm, who was always so influential in my life, like really important to me. And so anyway, I'm excited to see how the book is received. I mean, it's not, it's an introductory book. It's not an academic book. I know like the English literature on Malcolm has become very academic. Like there's a ton of super high level text now, debating points about his life and some less so. This is more, I think it is good for a general reader. But I think still might provide a good contribution, especially that last piece, about really what Malcolm is to Muslims, and what Malcolm is as a Muslim, right? Like, what does the ballot or the bullet speech mean as a Muslim? Like, like really, it's not a way that we talk about him often enough.
And he is still, in my view, the best modern political leader in the United States.
I think so too. My thoughts always go back to him. Really, like so many questions. Like we haven't grown out of the need for him. We haven't grown out of the situation. That requires him. Like he's still kind of the. Obviously some things change, but I think he's the. There are principles there that are really useful and analyses that are really useful there for sure.
Very good. And the book is available on Amazon, right?
I think so. Yeah. I should say I don't make any money from it anymore. I got paid for the translation and they'll keep the rest. But I'm happy to see it to see the ideas spread. The other book, I Refuse to Condemn, is the title.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, it really came out of like what we've been dealing with for so long, right? Like it's I was approached by another great brother, Awesome Qureshi, based in the UK. Of Cage UK, very important organization. They have my respect, and I met him in Istanbul. Actually, it was I forget why, but he had this project. He had just, I think, was just about to sign the contract for this book project, which came out of an interview he did where he was kind of put on his heels, or they tried to put him on his heels, right, to get him to issue a statement on some organization that had nothing to do with him, with some like jihadi type outfit, right, somewhere in the world. And he pushed back very well. He dealt with it very well. At the time, he said, it's none of my business, basically. And he refused. And rather than just take the easy road and condemn it and say no, he stood his ground, and I think it became a cause in a way. And I think it resonated with a lot of people, with academics and media professionals, people who find themselves in that position a lot. I mean, we used to do media all the time around the NYPD stuff. And how many times did it come back to a condemnation? Like it was all after everything that we would, it always come back around to, but how do you feel about Hamas or whatever? So often. And so anyway, he mentioned the idea to me. I don't like writing, to be honest. It's very hard for me. It takes me a long time. But he kind of like, talked me into it, I guess. I was super late, on getting it back, but I just tried to be honest. There's a lot of academics, a lot of really great radical thinkers in this book. Every chapter is from a different author. The comedian Amar Rahman, does a great interview, which I think is the last chapter. The rapper Loki, right, the Iraqi British rapper Loki, has a great piece. Number of and friends, colleagues of mine also. I really felt very underqualified. I really don't have the academic language thing down. That's not really my style. So I just tried to keep it honest to my experience. I was thinking, it became kind of autobiographical, talking about, the years that we experienced together, with, the years that I was at CARE first, dealing with some of the cases then, and then with all the NYPD stuff then. And those were really like, years of awakening for me. I was and am still growing, always, but like those years were really, radicalizing in a way. I use that word in a good way, but they were radicalizing years, right? Like it really, if I had any illusions, right, about how things might work,
the forefathers were radicals, so
that's that's how I felt, right? That's we have a good tradition. So the book is that, the book was my attempt to, my chapter, I should say, was my attempt to articulate why I don't see a need to condemn, like I don't jump through those hoops anymore, even if anybody asked, it's just, and, what I felt, and I tried to take a little bit further, because I'm sure some of my colleagues probably made that point much better than I did, but I took it a little further, and tried to open a space for, different thinking, even about Muslim violence, right? And about not to defend or endorse an organization or another. The whole point is not to go there, but rather, to give a narrative of, a historical narrative, that is a little bit more empathetic to why people why people might consider the United States to be an enemy, for example, as one example. And so, I've gotten good feedback so far. I was actually expecting this chapter to be cut. I was expecting to be like banned from the UK forever. Like I really did not expect this to go well for me. Like, because really even the other chapters are very academic and very, the language is so precise and, patient. They're all British, they put U's like after O's in their words. Like it's really like, I really didn't think I was going to make it. But Asim in particular, I really credit to him. He really defended my chapter through the peer review process. And, allegedly, I haven't seen a physical copy yet, but allegedly it will be actually maybe next week even. I think the 15th, I think it's released from Manchester University Press in the UK. So we'll see. We'll see what the fallout is from that.
Inshallah, congratulations.
Thank you.
The achievement, and don't underestimate yourself.
No, thank you. I mean, me, like I still in my head, I know I'm like very hairy and I have white hairs on my beard, but I feel like a kid. I really like watching this stuff. I'm looking at these maps with you, and I'm just, I never felt old enough, or wise enough to do the things that we were called to do. Right. Like we found ourselves in positions, right, out of need. Right, there was necessity. Our communities were being spied on. We have friends being arrested, and charged with crimes, and we just kind of stepped up to it, I think back on like days I gave Friday khutbah. I'm so embarrassed now to think that I used to give a Friday sermon, now I think back, I'm like, was that even valid? Like, I don't even, I was so ignorant back then, but it felt like it was the sense of urgency back then. And, every time I try to step away, that urgency.
Speaking of the khutbah, a famous imam in the United States told me once, because I was afraid, I was invited to give a khutbah at a big mosque in Manhattan, relatively big. So, and I was afraid. I said, why are you worried? Don't worry about it. Just do it. You know what you need to do. And you don't even need to be a Muslim nowadays to do it.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, I mean, you memorize 2 verses and 2 hadith. You don't even need to be a Muslim. You can give a.
I'm not sure that would make me feel better. It was like, so you mean I can give this khutbah and still have left Islam by the end of it? Yeah, but really, I was laughing actually just because it's Rabi al-Awwal. I did see that there was a flyer going around for speakers. I think it was an ICNA event or something, and it was like everyone was going to talk about the Prophet ﷺ, but like some of the speakers were not Muslim even. Like it was actually a kind of an interfaith Mawlid, presentation on the Sirah. Very interesting.
Right.
But fine, it's all good. May 1,000 flowers bloom. But yeah, I don't know. I think also in a way going to Istanbul was me trying to like kind of pump the brakes a little bit, right? On, I just saw so many of my friends and colleagues, people that we worked with very closely. I felt like, again, it's my opinion, I felt like they went astray in fell for certain traps, but not all. Some of them are still holding the line. Very proud to know them. But I saw it happening again and again, and then communities following them, and we were getting lost. And I felt like I was probably, what was I, 26, 27? Like I don't know, who am I? Who am I to know better? I needed to study. I needed to spend some time with some books. I hadn't done it. I just hadn't done that work.
Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been really good for me. But in a way, now spending time with books again, I feel like a kid again. I feel like now coming back, I'm like, I don't want to run an office in DC. Are you kidding me? That sounds terrible. That's sitting in nonprofit meetings, and this sounds horrible. I don't want that.
You're not escaping. You're coming and you're working with me.
Yeah. That wouldn't feel like work, though. I think, and that's it. You have to find your lane. You have to find, what you do like to do, what you're good at, and you have to work with people that you like. So that would not be a chore. We could and should work, inshallah. But I have learned some things that I don't want to do. That's for sure.
No, definitely. I mean, nowadays, that I ran for office in 2013. Alhamdulillah. I think I did well enough that I shattered the idea that a Muslim cannot run, or it's an alien idea.
Oh, people were doing that back then. Yeah, that's right. Now it's
and it was still during the time when Pamela Gerer and Robert Spencer doing their campaign against any Muslim rising and the mosques and this and that. So alhamdulillah.
Oh man, what happened to them? They like disappeared off the planet.
I haven't heard from them in a while. Robert Spencer pumps out a book every year, but I don't know about Geller.
Yeah, I mean, they they're not covered as much anymore. I guess it's easy to, if you're sincere in looking into it, you understand that this is just an agitator that might not even believe what she's saying.
That's possible. And also, I just realized everyone kind of became them. Also, like they were fringe back then in 2010, but now. There's 100 Pamela Gellers.
Yeah.
Right? So,
like their talking points really won the narrative.
They won that one. They won that one. Yeah.
So anyway, I was saying that running for office, I don't think I would run for office just to run for office. Like, I don't need to have a Muslim in office if I'm not able to hold my principles.
Right.
And that's the discussion that we need to have now. Okay, so we not only have 3 Congress members who are Muslim, no, 2 of them are women and 1 of them is hijabi. Great, we achieved it. Now what?
Yeah, right.
You see what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, and in some ways, and this isn't necessarily a specific reflection on their careers, on Sister Ilhan and Sister Rashida and etc. It's not about them in particular, but if a Muslim is in office and they are not upholding, they're not. Upholding the minimum that we expect, Islamically, but also, policy goals. If we had some sense of what our purpose is there,
that's it.
Then
Positions.
I would argue that their presence is actually a net negative. Right, because all of that gives the appearance, the illusion of access, right, without any of the substance, right, which just then becomes pacifying, right? Then it becomes we have to defend our girls in office or whatever,
That's it. That's what's happening, and this is not about them as persons.
Yeah,
this
I don't.
about,
we could lay the votes out, whatever. That's that's a different discussion. But in general, in principle, I agree. It's it's a dangerous time. But again, I think a lot of the rush into or the effort to push Muslims into public life, right? Which in some way, I guess, during my time at CARE was a big part of, the I am Muslim, I am American thing. It was all like, we have to be in the media, we have to be in politics and whatever. And, like we're talking about with these different organizations and whatever, the people that rose to that challenge were not exactly the people that we really wanted representing us anywhere. With respect, to everyone's efforts. Maybe it's taste, but
so it's 11:11, and I realized I made a big boo-boo, which is I thought that California closes at midnight Eastern, but the West Coast already closed, and of course, the entire West Coast is for Biden.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's share that screen and talk about the current situation.
Cool. Washington is called for Biden at 0% reporting and no estimate on the percentage.
That ship has sailed. Okay, so
that makes no sense.
Right. So here's Oregon, 56% reporting, 0% Washington, 4% California, the largest
77%.
Right. But anyway, I mean, we know that those are solid blue anyway. The surprise, Nevada, no results yet. Idaho came in. Utah came in. Wyoming.
That's a lot of pink states in there.
Right. So it's basically showing the same pattern as 2016, with the exception of Arizona here, where Biden is pulling ahead considerably at 73% reporting. He's ahead 53.6%. Let's see, where's Texas now? 74%. Trump is pulling far ahead from before. Florida, 98%. Trump is pulling, actually, it's the same 4% more or less lead, which might say that he got both Texas and Florida. Georgia,
Maine turned leaning blue.
Say that again.
Maine is now leaning blue instead of red.
Okay, at 38% reporting.
Yeah.
New Hampshire went for Biden.
Yeah.
That's wait, was this 2016 result? Actually,
New Hampshire was Clinton. Yeah.
Yeah. So the difference now, how's Colorado and New Mexico? Let's see. They went for Biden. Okay. So Nevada and Arizona might be the last battles to determine whether or not this thing is tossed. Because for the rest of it, here's Trump looks like he's pulling ahead considerably. Pennsylvania. Ohio, 92% reporting. Michigan now 43% and Trump pulling ahead considerably. Wisconsin, 59% and Trump is pulling ahead. So it looks like a repeat. Again, North Carolina, 94%. It's very close, but that's 94% reporting. So again, Nevada and Arizona probably will be the last battles to determine this presidency.
Wow.
So yeah.
And then all the mail-in ballots.
Yeah, and again, I haven't got the answer because we are here and I'm not really watching or listening to the TV pundits. But the question is, it seems that these are results from only today's, or whatever state announced whatever results from the mail-in ballots. But anyway, Alhamdulillah. So, yeah. No problem. So we were talking about books and writing, and congratulations again, Cyrus. And Davi, of course, has been participated in one of those types of books where he wrote a chapter in a book also before a collection of Muslim.
Oh yeah, All American.
All American, right? And then you went zombie on us, also with the Survivor Max. So tell us more about that.
Sure. So I don't know. I guess I got a little finished with nonfiction for a while, and I decided to start doing some fiction. And so I wrote a trilogy of zombie novels about a fifth grader surviving in the zombie apocalypse by himself. I mean, I don't know. The first book, he's literally by himself, and it's about him escaping his apartment complex when it's overrun by zombies. It's called Too Smart to Die. The second one is called School Bites, and it's about going to his middle school, which is now being run as a refugee center by the faculty. And then the third book is called Trigger Warnings, and he makes it to his family's cabin in the mountains and discovers that it's been occupied by other survivors. So it's sort of about how do you negotiate property rights when you're outnumbered by people who have homesteaded your own house.
That's so awesome.
Amazing. That's great. Yeah.
So what is Survivor Max? And the website is survivormax.com.
Yeah, just survivormax.com.
I want to write this down. That's awesome.
So that's where the books are, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get the books there. They're also on Amazon. I'm in the process of doing second editions because I'm selling out of first edition. So the second editions have different covers now. I'm sort of rebranding the whole franchise now that the second edition is out.
Right.
And eventually as far as the outline is concerned, I have 3 trilogies in mind. So this first trilogy is him as a 12-year-old, but I want to do the next set about maybe 10 years later, and the third and final one probably 10 years after that. So
it's like the movie 28 Days Later and then 28 weeks. 28
yeah,
weeks
yeah,
later.
Right, exactly. Well, my thinking was I was noticing like all of this like dystopian teenage fiction that comes out, right? Like Hunger Games and Divergent and Maze Runner. All of them talk about, we have this big totalitarian government because we had this horrible catastrophe in the past, and that's just the background. That's just the setting, right? And so I wanted to start at that catastrophe. I wanted to back up. And so the first trilogy is really about the collapse of this system because of a zombie outbreak. The second trilogy is going to be about the rise of that dystopian society that the outbreak necessitates. And then finally in the third trilogy, it's that teenage dystopian story about taking down the new dystopian society.
That's pretty neat.
Awesome. That's great,
the fourth book, although it's not published, it's called The Prison State. And it's about a group of survivors that take over Alcatraz and then begin taking over California by declaring them precincts of the prison state.
Wow.
like we will offer you protection from the zombies, but it means that you're going to be one of our cell blocks.
Wow. That's pretty neat.
That's cool, man. I'm gonna look you up. That's great.
Inshallah. Davi also is a great a graphic designer. He's the one who designed the logo for this show, Vantage Points, so you can see it above your head. It's an optical illusion where you can see 3 bars from one end, from the right side, and 4 bars from the left side.
Oh.
Of course,
wow. Yeah.
It is either 3 or 4, but it's depending on the vantage point that you're looking from.
Yeah.
You see?
No, I remember
the Survivor Max logo was in. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I remembered your name. I remember seeing some things that you had produced, some images, and was it? I want to say, were you the Muslim agorist by any chance?
That's my name.
Okay, I remember the. It's been years now, but yeah, I remember the image. Yeah. Cool.
I was going to say the Survivor Max logo is kind of interesting too because it's a coronavirus, and
right.
That was a little bit of precognition on my part. The zombie outbreak in Survivor Max is based on a corona outbreak before the coronavirus was even a thing. But it's that asymptomatic transmission that makes it so dangerous. Because that means that it can proliferate through the population before symptoms emerge, and that's what you need for a zombie outbreak. So I had to use a coronavirus.
Yeah.
Amazing. We're still going to cover that at some point after the election when things cool down a little bit. Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah. So all right.
Yeah, I'm getting word. This is kind of, a downer, but they're saying that Michigan and Pennsylvania are trying to. They don't want to call it tonight.
Uh-huh.
Either way. They're saying Michigan wants until Friday to call the results, and Pennsylvania might be similar. I think Pennsylvania was the one that they don't even open the ballots until after.
Right.
It closes.
Well, yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania right now, it says that it's leaning red, but it's 47% reporting, and it's only like a 3-something% spread.
Yeah, I could go.
And then Michigan's 47%, and I guess it's a wider spread. It's about a 10% spread, but still.
So Michigan, 47% and 44-43.
Whoa, they gave 209. Wow. Oh, but that's because of the West Coast. I see.
Right.
I see. That's okay. Very interesting.
North Carolina is it's getting close in North Carolina. Georgia now, he's pulling ahead much.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't call it in these states that are so close.
Yeah.
Or that are so that the reporting is 94%, and you can't. I guess it's only a 2% spread though.
Yeah, I think they calculate.
It's gonna go into all the mail-in ballots. We're gonna dispute all of these things.
Yep, and that's what's gonna take it forever.
A month of drama. Yeah.
And
which means it's gonna fight it in the courts, and we're gonna get Donald Trump saying, whatever, it's voter frauds. Mexico is voting in Pennsylvania, something like that.
Yeah.
So surprisingly,
I can totally see why they would fight every single one of these, all these mail-in, all this mail voting.
Yeah.
When I saw the numbers, even yesterday of the votes that they were already receiving, right, I was blown away. Like
90 million.
Yeah. It was really shocking. If it's even a % difference. Right, what was the last in 2016? It was like 60%, almost not even 60%, 59% voter turnout or something. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Make it 65. Like, there's no way to predict that. Like,
no, there is no easy way. And like I myself mailed my ballot today.
Yeah,
I can't help it. I'm Arab. Sorry.
And yet New York is already called, so I guess your vote doesn't count.
Oh, I know my vote doesn't count for president in New York, but I hope it counts in the congressional, which is sad in a way, because I'll show you now the current numbers in my district. Let's see, where is it? There we go. So now at 93% reporting, Nicole Mariatakis is 58-41. So
that is a
yeah,
mandate.
Kinda, yeah.
I got a message on Facebook that says Joe Jorgensen won Wabash County, Illinois at 94%.
What?
So Joe Jorgensen, president of Wabash County, Illinois.
In which California?
Illinois.
Illinois. Okay, that's. Is she from there originally or something?
I don't know. I don't even know if this is true. This is Facebook told me this.
Right. That's good. I mean,
oh my God! If a third party candidate actually gets enough votes to flip a swing state,
Oh, swing state. Yeah.
Democrats are going to be assassinating
Hmm.
leftists and libertarians.
Yep. I'm gonna be lynched.
Yeah, all of us that told people not to vote Biden.
Right.
Illinois has already called for Biden, so it's not a spoiler question. NBC.com is showing Joe Jorgensen with 94.5% of the vote in Wabash County.
And the population there is what, 5?
Yeah, right. It's just Joe Jorgensen's family. It's one farm.
Unanimous.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Wabash County only has 15,000 people. People are speculating it's a typo.
I think there is a trucking company with that name, Wabash.
Wabash,
W-A-B.
yeah, you're right.
Uh-huh. Right. So yeah. So what do you guys think? End early at 11:30.
But we don't know who's president yet.
Yeah, we're not gonna know for about 3 months.
On the air.
Get some coffee.
Like it's the Supreme Court who's gonna tell us who's president.
Yeah.
It seems that way. Like I mean, everyone woke up expecting a Biden blowout, but it's really they're gonna stretch this.
I said, rude awakening on the horizon.
Yeah, that's right. I think there'll be plenty to talk about, inshallah. We can reconvene when we have more information. I'm always happy to.
Inshallah. So I've been doing, me and Davi, we've been doing a nightly live since the weekend not this one, the one before it.
Right.
So I am really beat. I don't know if you notice, but I'm not a talker per se. That's why I like to bring people in, and I just moderate, ask questions and hear you talking. So I can't talk for hours like this. Who am I?
It happens, it's like sports. You just kind of get into the drone mode here. But no, we'll reconvene, inshallah. I think, I'm thinking, we all have sleep to get and work to do. But I think it won't even be tomorrow, will it? But
no, I doubt it.
Idea, at least, Well, I think what will be interesting for me too, like leaving tonight, it'll be interesting to get a sense of tone from each campaign too. Just like how they're talking about fighting it. What's how confident are they? Because that then has a lot of implications for how bases react.
Right.
That's, I think, the more practical implication. The more practical thing I'm looking for tonight. But we won't get that until,
Once Biden concede.
Can you imagine, dude?
Yeah, that's gonna take some time.
It's Schrodinger's ballot box. If you never open the ballot box, then the election is always in a superposition of both candidates.
That's right.
Nice play in the Schrodinger's cat there. All right, gentlemen. It's been fun.
It's been fun, yeah. And nice, Davi, nice to meet you. Hisham,
yeah, you too.
Great to be with you as always. Inshallah, soon again.
Barakallah feek. Inshallah, we'll talk soon. Keep us in your dua. And ladies and gentlemen, there are hashtags and there is a hashtag. This is the hashtag. Take care, America.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.